to stand up strong, face the truth about themselves, to understand what went wrong. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way to stand up, stand up, stand up. And throughout the world today.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. Good morning. Hi, y'all. Welcome to the show. It's Monday again. It is Monday again. Believe it or not, it's Monday. Are you ready? Are you ready for the coming of the Lord? You can get involved by calling 888-7753. 773. 888-77 Jesse. Jesse. So there are a couple lines open if you want to jump in there. And I invite you to. We have every way that you can watch and support the show listed on JesseLeePeterson.com/show. JesseLeePeterson.com/show. JesseLeePeterson.com. And if you're out and about, whatever you're doing out there, and believe me, the world gone crazy. Grandpa, tell me about the good old days. The world gone crazy. You can, if you're busy and you are not able to sit and watch the show today, or right now, you can podcast later, of course, but you can listen to the show on your iPhone or iPad anywhere in this whole round world, or anywhere for the flat earthers in this up and down world. You can be listening to the show on your iPhone or iPad. Even if you are an illegal alien, because illegals get free phones, and you're swimming across the ocean, or you're cutting the wire, trying to get through the wire, and you're stuck in the wire, or you're on one of those bus trucks with the cartel, they stuck you in one of those loading truck things, and you're back there and piled up on just hundreds of you. And you want to be listening to the show, you can call the listen line on your iPhone, iPad at 641-793-1500. 641-793-1500. And don't forget to follow us, JLP Talk on X. JLP Talk on X and cozy.tv/JLP. JLP. Cozy. Well, Christ is King. .tv/JLP. And like, follow, subscribe, ring the bell, and blah, blah, blah. I appreciate it. To donate and have your comments read out loud, go to buymeacoffee.com on Cash App there. Buymeacoffee.com on Cash App there. Buymeacoffee.com on Cash App there. No, not buy me a coffee on Cash App. Buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk and Bond JLP Cash App. No wonder her son would take his time. What the? Bond JLP on Cash App. And rebuildingthemand.com. Rebuildingthemand.com. All right? So, yesterday, if you were not at the fellowship, Sunday fellowship, or you didn't get a chance to watch it live, I highly recommend, Mama Mia recommend, I highly recommend that you podcast rebuildingthemand.com/church. Rebuildingthemand.com/church. There, for me, I'm not speaking for anyone on this but me. You know, I heard people say before, I don't want to be a Christian. It's too boring. It's boring being a Christian. And I've heard over the years, people say they didn't want to become a Christian because it was too boring. It sounded like it wouldn't be fun. But I want to tell you, as a witness, can I get a witness? Witness, that there's no greater fun than becoming a Christian, than working on your life. There is absolutely there is no greater fun than working on your life. There is no, I'm talking to the engineer over here. Well, half part-time engineer. There is no greater fun than that. Working on your, try it and see if I'm right or wrong. You get on working on your life by yourself. This is one journey in life that you can't take it with anyone else. Only you can travel this road, this straight and narrow journey, this straight and narrow path by yourself. This is one, you know how weak people always want to have somebody with them? They got to have someone to agree or disagree. They got to have a club, right? But this is one journey you cannot, if you ain't going to do it alone, it ain't going to happen. You can hang it up. It ain't going to happen. You must travel this journey alone. And it is more than fun. It is, in all honesty, through my whole lifetime, however long that been, I've been through different phases of life. This is the most, and I thought those times were fun because they were meeting my ego needs. And, but this is fun because I'm working on my life and I'm overcoming and understanding who is making me free, is making me free and free indeed. And so I want to encourage you to get on the journey, but you can't travel with your husband, your wife, your children, your family members, your friends, your enemies, or no one. And it is amazing. It really, really is. Words cannot express how amazing it is to work truly, spiritually, if I could borrow that word, work on your own life. Really. And you're going to see how dumb and blind and what you don't know and you think you do know, but you don't know. Intellectual people, and all are intellectual until they start to overcome it. Intellectual people are dumber than a rock, dumber than a doorknob, dumber than a donut. Dumb. Really. the way we see things in a fallen state, and you don't know that you're seeing it in the wrong way. That's what's so weird about it. You're not aware that you're seeing things in the wrong way. That's mind-blowing. You just don't know. You think you are seeing them. Or everybody else see it that way, so it must be right. And you forget that only a few would take the straight and narrow path and never follow the crowd. The crowd is 100% wrong 100% of the time. 100% wrong 100% of the time. There's never a time when the crowd is right. Isn't that deep? Think about that. But in that fallen state, you think the crowd is right, at least at times. But 100% of the time, the crowd is wrong. Amazing. So, our last week biblical question. I have a brand new biblical question for this week. But we discussed last week biblical question in the fellowship yesterday. Interesting. And so my producer, he said a few things about it too yesterday in the during the fellowship. And then he said to me this morning in our meeting for preparing for the show today, he said, Jesse, something like, I disagree with you about the biblical question yesterday. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Let's discuss it. Don't discuss it right now. Let's do it on the air. He's like, oh, okay. So Sean is here, my producer. And Joel, too, he black. He agreed with Sean. So I asked Sean, you still want to stick to it? And Joel is here. He black. And so Sean is my producer, an amazing producer. And that does, when I say that to the ex-producer, that doesn't mean you weren't amazing. That doesn't mean you wasn't as good as Sean, just because he's better. And so Sean is my producer and one of the experts. To my right and your left. You right. And then Joel is the host of Joel Friday TV every Tuesday right here, and another expert on the Destiny Peterson Show. And so you guys disagree, I guess, right? I can't hear you.
Yes.
They bowing their head, but y'all can talk, okay?
Yes.
Right.
About, are you a pitiful person? Last week, biblical question. Are you a pitiful person? And you can podcast that to get an understanding. What part of that you disagree about?
Well, what I was saying in church and why I disagree is that, you know, God lets us suffer. God doesn't look down on us in pity. One of the quotes I said on the show a while back was that God looks down on us with a tearless eye. Tearless not because he doesn't see us, but because he sees us so well. He doesn't look at us in pity. So who are we to look at anyone else in pity? Who are we to say to anyone, oh, that's pitiful? Or who are we to say to ourselves, that's pitiful? Because it's not us that's doing it. You know, I disagree because I feel like we can't be not guilty. We're not guilty of anything. So we can't be not guilty of anything, but also be pitiful. There was a time where pity was like the worst thing that you could give somebody, worse than torturing someone. You could to pity them, to look down on them, to think of yourself as better than them was the worst thing that you could do to someone, to say, I pity you, right? So that's my point, is that to look at anyone and say that's pitiful is not the same love that God shows us, because he doesn't look at us and say that's pitiful.
Okay. And you agree with Sean, you say?
Yeah, I just think I mean the main point that I was getting at as well in church is that like calling just identifying somebody or self as a pitiful person is identifying with it being pitiful. And that was the point I was making in church as well, is that like we can do pitiful things and we can do good things, but that doesn't make us pitiful or make us good. And that's why I was also saying too, like I'm not a pitiful person, but I'm also not a good person. But I'm just, like you say, a living being, and I do pitiful things all the time, but I also do what I would consider, or people would consider, good things as well. But I wouldn't identify with a pitiful person, because like Sean's saying, you look down at the person that's pitiful, and then that's just another identity to me.
And what did I say was pitiful?
You said that, if you experience sadness, if you experience happiness, if you have fear or anger, those are pitiful. Those are pitiful things. You're a pitiful person. And so that's what I was disagreeing with. This could be one of those moments where we're just sort of saying the same thing, but have to use words, and the words
Right.
we use are confusing the whole situation.
Yeah.
Because we might not think of this, we might not be meaning the same thing by pitiful or by you, because
Right.
I feel like you could have easily said, no one is pitiful because it's not you. And we could have been meaning the same thing, but
Right.
but I don't know. I was surprised
Surprised at what?
at your response, and that's
Oh.
yeah. And I was sitting in church and I was going, what? What?
You're like, what the?
What?
And what did I say was pitiful?
Well, you just said that that a pitiful, you're naming examples of what a pitiful person looks like.
Right.
And you say you're a pitiful person if you do A, B, C, or D. And yeah, it is in a way going against the message that you're trying to say, is that no identities.
Right.
But yeah, you're saying that if you do these things, you're a pitiful person. And it makes the person who does those things think that they're pitiful, and they may judge themselves as a pitiful person instead of just realizing it's not them in general. So yeah, the language just has to be expressed in a certain way to point back to the fact that there's no identities, or else you do look down on people and stuff like that. People in general will look down on people if they identify with those things.
If the people identify with that, the person or the people who are looking down on them?
The person themselves will identify, which is not anybody else's responsibility, but I just think it's perfect. It's best to be clear with language. Like, for example, and maybe nobody will agree with this, but I think if no man is
I
good,
already doubt.
I think if the Bible's going to say no man is good, and then the Christians are going to preach no man is good, then that also means that no man is bad. But we don't ever think that no man is bad, and we always will point out the bad guy or the evil guy. But if no man is good, then how can a man be bad as well?
Are you a bad guy?
I don't think I'm a bad guy or a good guy.
Well, what is you?
A living being. But I oftentimes...
But I say, go ahead. No.
I was going to say, I oftentimes think I'm a good person, and that was a problem. Like, I think that I'm a good person. When I think I'm a good person, I set this expectation over myself, and then I set myself up, and then not myself, but Satan. And I end up falling and looking crazy. So it's like...
Did you feel silly yesterday after I told you ain't never done nothing good in your life?
Did I feel silly? No, I just in the same way I just disagreed with that thing, but I didn't.
You still believe you've done good things?
Yeah, I think there's righteous things that we do.
Tell me one good thing you've done.
When I went, okay, for example, I couldn't think of one yesterday, but like for example,
Hold that thought.
Okay.
Do you believe Joel ever done one good thing in his whole life?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
So like,
Nice.
like for example, thank you.
I don't
John.
know him really that well, but
But like for example, when I went to forgive my parents, I think that was a good thing.
Why?
I think it was a necessary thing, but I think it was good in a sense of it freed me up in a lot of ways. So I think I would consider that as a good thing.
You consider that a good thing?
I was thinking more about the prayer and I assume he does silent prayer, and that's I assume. And if
why would a good man doing the good things need to do the silent prayer? No, I'm playing again.
He's doing,
Yeah.
as long as he's in prayer and doing the prayer, he's doing. That's good.
Have you ever done a good thing in your life?
Yes.
And what good thing you've done?
I did my silent prayer this morning.
Amazing. So when I said that, I forgot everything I said. If you're happy,
Yeah.
you're a pitiful person. If you're sad, you're a pitiful person. If you whatever, you're a pitiful person.
Angry, all that stuff.
Right. The reason I say that is because those things are not you at all. But if you think that they are, that's what makes you a pitiful person.
But then would it be that
If you think you're those things,
Yeah.
because there is no you. But if you're thinking those things about yourself, then you are a pitiful person.
But even if we think about it, it's a lie, so we can't identify it with it at
But
the
people
same
who
time.
think that about themselves identify with the lie.
But we shouldn't, though. That's what I'm saying. Like,
But
if
they
we,
do, though. That's what I'm trying to tell them. If you do, then you're a pitiful person.
or you just are believing about pity or being pitiful. But I don't think it should be that person is pitiful.
But they are, though.
I don't agree with it.
What do you think about this, Sean?
Yeah, I disagree still. I mean, they're a lost person, but God's looking down. He's saying, yeah, it's not them. They believe it's them. And he doesn't look at it and say, that's pitiful. I'm just saying who is any human to say to another human that's pitiful.
Because it is. They have a false self that they identify with. And these things that in that false self, they think is them. And so in that, it makes them pitiful because it's an illusion. It's not even real.
But to further what Sean is saying, without repeating him, is that if you think about how God would speak to us, I don't think he would ever say you're a pitiful person. You know what I mean? Like, I think he understands that the reason why we believe this, we're believing a lie. He may say, like, don't believe, I don't know what he'll say, right? But he may say, like, don't believe into that pitiful thought.
But that's my whole point. Don't believe that because it's not you.
But
Right.
it's similar to like feeling bad for somebody. Like, oh, I feel bad for you because you're in this situation. That's what I think about when I think of pity. Like I said, there was a time when there was the worst thing that you could do to someone is look down on them. I picture someone. It's always like in the movies, someone of like a. Oh, go ahead.
No, finish your point.
No, it's just someone looking down their nose at someone and going, I pity you.
But I'm not.
It means that they think that they're better than the other person.
But I wasn't talking about how someone else see you. I'm talking about how you see yourself.
Right,
If
I
you
wouldn't.
see yourself as a happy or sad person, you're pitiful.
But then if I'm gonna say,
Meaning that you're seeing an illusion.
but if I'm gonna say that if I'm gonna identify with pitiful, then I might as well identify with good. And I might as well say, well, I'm a good
But
person.
a pitiful person does think that they're good too.
Right, but neither of them exist. So then
Right.
why do they get labeled as that?
Because they label themselves. I'm not talking about with someone else labeling them.
Right.
They're doing that to themselves because they believe a lie.
But then somebody else can say, oh, well, that's a pitiful person because they're believing into that lie.
But it's not what someone else say or think, it's what you think.
But I wouldn't think that.
Pitiful people do think that. I do them
Right.
all the time.
But even a pitiful person wouldn't think that, they wouldn't on their own think that they're a pitiful person.
They do think that.
Oh, then it's a lie.
I know it. That's what I'm trying to tell. That's what I was saying yesterday.
But why not? I mean, I'm not telling you what to say. You say how you say. But I think that you should just be like, they believe that, but it's not true, and not identify them with a pitiful person, because it does sound like you're saying, whether you're not saying it or not, it sounds like you're saying that's a pitiful person, and you're making the judgment.
No, I said if you think these things about yourself, and here are signs of it. If you're thinking about yourself, you're a pitiful person.
Right, but
Because there is no self.
at the end of the day, you are saying to someone you're pitiful. If it's coming from you, you're saying you're pitiful.
No, I'm telling them that if they're thinking that way about themselves, they see themselves. They think that they're a pitiful person
How do we know exactly that, though?
by getting to know yourself.
Right. Well, I can see how in those moments I've said I'm good, I'm bad, and so it's the same kind of thing. But yeah, we shouldn't identify with it.
You're thinking about pitiful, meaning like if you're a pitiful person, that means that you're thinking of yourself as pitiful.
Yes.
I'm reading it in a different way, because when I say to someone, "You're a pitiful person," it means that I'm thinking of them as pitiful.
No.
Not that I'm thinking that they think that they're pitiful.
No, it's totally what they're thinking about themselves, not what somebody else is thinking about them.
Right. It's where the confusion lies. Because I'm sitting here thinking that you're looking at other people and thinking that's a pitiful person.
No. That's why I said, if you think these things about yourself, you're a pitiful person. If you think you're happy or sad, if you think you're rich or poor, if you think or compare yourself to others, you're a pitiful person. You're seeing yourself as a pitiful person.
Right.
But consider this, though. Consider this.
Is that clear?
Yeah.
But it's not clear to me.
Okay.
So, like, consider this because
I know what the problem is, too.
Yeah, and then tell me. But consider this is that, like, you're saying that if you think that you think you're a pitiful person.
Right.
But you're saying that, and I know you get to know yourself, and oftentimes we think that, but you're saying that that's the case. You're projecting that that's what that person is thinking. You're saying that if you're angry or you're mad or you're happy, you see yourself as a pitiful person. But it's like you're making that statement and saying that that's the fact.
What he's saying now, I don't understand it.
Yeah, I mean, it's this just confusion. Like, we have to use these words to communicate with each other,
Right.
and they don't really do the trick.
Right.
But when you say if you have sadness, if you have anger, if you have happiness, then you're a pitiful person, it would appear as though you're saying you're pitiful. Like, you're thinking that person is pitiful. I pity you.
But I was saying what? Now that you understand.
Now that I understand, you were saying that you're a pitiful person in that you think that you're pitiful.
Right.
You view yourself as pitiful.
Right.
But I don't
that's
think
not
that
what
word
pitiful
should-
means.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think that should be used
What
at
pitiful
all.
me?
It means that I pity you. You're a pitiful person.
No, I hope most people pity themselves.
I guess if you wanted to say I pity you, you would just say I pity you.
Right. But most people pity themselves. People who join groups, they do it because they pity themselves. And they need to find a comfort zone.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if you like to use it. I just think that identifying with it. Yeah.
But I got to use it the worldly way?
The proper way, to me, I see it as the proper way of just saying that this person believes into pity, opposed to saying this person thinks they're a pitiful person. Because then it almost going to make...
They
Yeah.
think those things.
Right, it's true, but then they shouldn't be thinking... They shouldn't even have the idea in their mind of pitiful person.
Correct me, but I know what the hang up here is.
All
That when it was happening, at the time it was happening,
Yeah.
it would happen. In your mind, you're thinking, I need to say it a certain way. And because I didn't say it a certain way in the mind, you couldn't see it the way I was saying it. Because I wasn't saying it the way your mind would tell you I should say it.
I think
Am I wrong about that?
No.
Go ahead.
Very important.
I just think that it changes the narrative of what you mean. Like, for example, when you say pitiful person, regardless of the fact whether it's they believe it, I believe it, you're still saying pitiful person.
Yeah.
And pitiful
but I
person is
wasn't
still
saying-
the wrong way
Yeah.
to say things.
Yep.
Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, what?
Church.
Yeah, what?
Oh, yeah, there's a right way to say things and a wrong way to say. And there is a right way to say things.
Who said that?
The people who invented language.
Let me take a quick break. We'll finish this when I come back. And Hake was in on it too. So let me take a quick break. 888-7753-773. Then we'll get to your phone calls and super chats. Back in a moment. You can't run from evil within yourself or outside of self. You got to deal with it. And you need good in order to deal with evil. And God is good. You need to return to the Father, and And you'll see within you, he will fight the battle for you. And he will fight it without, because he will show you how to deal with it. And you will have no fear. Love God with all your heart, all your soul, all your might, along with nothing else. Nothing else means yourself, your children, your wife, your things, your ego, your reputation, and all that. You can't care about any of that. The children of anger will use it to control you. But if you love God, he will renew your mind, and none of those things will be before him. And so when they go after you, oh, well, you may take my body, you may take my things, but you're not going to take my soul. And that's a true reality. So check out my books, folks. The From Race to Responsibility, amazing book, and then Scam: How the Black Leadership Exploits Black America, and then the 7 Guaranteed Steps to Family, Spiritual and Family Financial Success Guide. Even though we're doing a reprint on this, it sold out like hotcakes, so we're doing a reprint on it. It's sold like hotcakes. We're doing a reprint on it, and so you may have to wait a little bit for that. It's being reprinted right now, and then the antidote, healing America from the poison of hate, blame, and victimhood. I highly recommend that one as well. And I will sign them if you go online to order at rebuildingtheman.com, rebuildingtheman.com. Or call 800-411-BOND, 800-411-2663. The 7 Guaranteed Step is a little pocket guide. Excuse me. A little pocket guide that show you if you want to start a business or if you're working and you want to manage your money in your life. It's simple steps if you should do it. All right, so go to rebuildingtheman.com, rebuildingtheman.com, or call 800-411-BOND. And yes, if you order that way, I can sign them all. All right. I want to get back to this subject of the biblical question yesterday. Are you a pitiful person? And so you've heard Sean, my expert and my producer, and Joel Friday, he black, better known as Arkansas. And he, another expert here, about yesterday's Are You a Pitiful Person? And Hake had a little 2 cents he want to put in on that too. Hake is an expert here. He's also the host of the Hake Report Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific time, 9 to noon Eastern time. The Hake Report, and an expert. You say?
I say there are pitiful people.
And why do you say that?
Because I definitely perceive people to be pitiful, and sometimes like myself. And my perception is definitely like pretty solid on how things really are.
And what do you think about the conversation yesterday when I said, if you think that you're happy or sad, rich or poor, black or white, or whatever you're into, that you are a pitiful person if you think this way?
Yeah, those are the markings, some of the markings of being pitiful.
Yeah.
For sure.
And why is that?
Because you're not a solid person at that point. You're not like unshakable in your faith or whatever, like you're supposed to be.
Oh, okay. And what do you understand Sean and Joel to be saying about it?
They're talking in what it seems like is that they've learned the it's not really you thing,
Right.
and they're holding on to that tightly, as opposed to just accepting the reality that the not you is makes you pitiful in how you live, and it's important to acknowledge that the way that you're living is messed up. So I think that it's kind of like clinging on to a lesson where it doesn't necessarily apply.
Oh, I see. And when you say that?
The definition of pitiful?
No, what he just said.
Yeah, I mean, that was part of it. You know, the not you was part of it, but the main point was that God doesn't look at us as pitiful, and that we shouldn't look at others as pitiful or look at ourselves as pitiful.
And so I think the point you guys, and correct me if I'm wrong, that I needed to say
That
No.
self-pitying
no.
is another form of that word. Instead of saying like, oh, that you're a pitiful person, you're self-pitying.
But you understand? I said that if you see yourself this way,
This is where, like, I'll go ahead. Sean,
If you see yourself this way, you're a pitiful person, right?
Right.
And pitiful means deserving or arousing pity. You deserve pity if you see yourself in this way.
Oh, but I don't think about that one
That's
because
the
that's so
definition.
shallow and intellectual. That means nothing,
Well,
and it doesn't make you free or anything.
this is how I just simplify.
But that's the meaning of the word.
Not in it's the meaning of an intellectual word, right? That keeps you in prison. Yeah.
This is just how I, to simplify it. When you
Ooh.
say pitiful person, it's a judgment to me. It's a judgment. Just like if I say I'm a good person.
Even if it's not me that's saying that about them, I'm saying
yeah,
if you see
even
that
if the
about
person
yourself,
sees it about themselves, it's still a judgment.
a judgment
And
upon themselves.
Yeah, and a judgment is a lie. So we shouldn't say I'm a pitiful person, even if they believe it. Those words shouldn't even go together at all, period. Now, obviously, if they do, the person shouldn't be hanging on so tight to them so that way they're identifying with it. But we might, as well, in my opinion, delete it completely, because if you identifying with saying I'm a pitiful person, they're a pitiful person, regardless of who's saying it, it's still a judgment that's false. So we shouldn't say it at all. Just say that's maybe a pitiful thing, that's a good thing, or whatever the case is.
I'm lost now. I don't know.
You
what y'all
just
talking
shouldn't identify. It's a judgment. If you say good, bad, left, right, it's a judgment. We shouldn't have no judgments.
about. You bow your head in agreement.
Yeah, I hear what he's saying.
Okay.
I don't want to repeat what I'm just
Right.
going to repeat what I've been saying, but
Yes, James.
My God, why have you forsaken me? Is the beginning of Psalm 22.
Right.
And David says, my forefathers, or the forefathers, trusted in you and you rescued them, and they were not disappointed. But I am a worm and not a man, disgraced of mankind and despised by people. All who see me deride me. They sneer and shake their heads, saying, turn him over to the Lord. Let him save him.
Who is this? Where is this from?
The Psalms.
Oh, I disagree with that.
And Jesus quoted that too.
That didn't do anything for me.
and that was David.
Yeah, David calling himself a worm. I think it's
So David-
I assume it was. Yeah, it says the Psalm of David.
So David calls himself a worm, and is God looking down on David and going, David, you're so pitiful?
In reality, we're all worms. In real reality, we ain't worth a dime. We're nothing. We're garbage.
That's true.
I agree
trash.
to that.
That's
I agree to
true.
that.
We're all worms. And
I
so
agree to
that's
that.
the point that I was making yesterday, that if you see yourself in either one of those ways, you're seeing an illusion,
But what-
because you don't exist. And then you're seeing something that don't exist. You are believing lies about yourself which doesn't exist, but it keeps you in illusion when you think you're rich or poor, black or white, happy or sad. And when all those states of mind disappear, you'll be free. So you shouldn't see yourself in any way at all, period. There will be no state that you should see yourself in. And when you stop seeing yourself in any state of being, then you're in the right state.
But see, you're saying that on one
in the
breath.
right state, there is no thinking about a state.
But that's 100%. But see, that's the thing. In one breath, you say that. But then on the other breath, you say, oh, this is a pitiful person. This is a bad person.
Said if you see yourself like that.
I know, but just the language that you use in general, just that I've heard you use over time, is just saying, and maybe you're not even realizing that you're using it.
Let's stay with Sunday.
Okay.
Because I can't go right that far.
Okay. But that's what I'm saying. It's just identity to me. It's like, but even and if we're going to use the Bible, even though I disagree with that psalm, is that
you say that David was more than a worm?
Yeah, I think that God wouldn't say you're a worm. I think that God wouldn't say you're trash.
He didn't say God said it. He acknowledges that he's nothing more than that.
But he shouldn't acknowledge that he's a worm.
Why not?
Because that's a lie.
Why is that?
He's not a worm. God wouldn't say you're a worm.
But acknowledging that he's nothing is what makes him see himself as God sees him.
Acknowledge that you're nothing is good, but not saying I'm a worm, I'm pitiful. Those are negative. Those are evil words.
I know, but you can say things. You gotta say things, but you need to be conscious of what you're saying. And by him saying that and being aware that he's saying it, he's not identifying with it. You gotta speak, but you need to speak in awareness.
But speak in the
because
proper
when you
awareness.
speak in awareness, you're not identifying with it. It's only when you're speaking in an unconscious way that you identify with it. You gotta communicate with the.
In the bigger picture, we're saying the same thing, but go ahead.
No, we're not.
Yeah, because
Yes,
go ahead.
So you're not saying that people who are lost deserve pity.
No,
You're not saying that.
I
Okay,
said that.
but that's the
I
definition
said
of pitiful.
if they see themselves that way,
Right.
they're a pitiful person.
But at the end of the day, when all is said and done, that is the definition of pitiful. It means you deserve pity. But the lesson, the lesson that I did take, like you said, the lesson that I did take from yesterday was that, I got to overcome words just as much as that, because I heard you say you're a pitiful person, and I assumed that you meant the definition of pitiful, which is you deserve pity.
That's exactly what
I thought you
happened.
were saying you deserve pity to people.
Even though I didn't say that at all.
But you did, because that you used pitiful.
No, I said if you see yourself that way. I didn't say you deserve, but you're right. You knew the definition of it according to the Google.
Dictionaries can be fake news, though, because pitiful can be also pathetic. And people don't pity pathetic people. At least not in a I feel sorry for you sort of compassionate way.
So when you see other people's behavior and you think that that's pitiful, you don't also think that that's pathetic?
Sometimes, yeah, that's what it means, pitiful, not deserving of pity. Pathetic people don't deserve pity.
Pitiful people, if you say...
Pitiful people don't necessarily deserve the pity. You're not necessarily saying that.
But, I mean...
I'm just saying it's fake news. The dictionary is fake news.
In reality, though...
I hear you.
In reality, there's no such thing as a pitiful person. So even the Google definition is lying.
Right, there's no
That's
such thing
like
as a
saying
pitiful
that-
person. You said it, though. That's what I'm
Because
saying.
that person doesn't exist. It's just an illusion.
So why say it?
That's what I was
To
saying.
remind you that it's an illusion.
But why not say? But you're saying that's a pitiful person. That's a pitiful person. That's a pitiful person. But
I didn't say
you're
that
giving
was,
life
I
to
said
pitiful
if
person.
you think that about yourself.
Lord have mercy.
Nick says, what does God looking at you pitiful have to do with looking at yourself as pitiful? But people don't know what you know, Joel.
People don't know what you know. People don't know what you know. But I don't know. I just think that's a setup to just identify yourself as a pitiful person, or even to saying
Don't
identify.
identify yourself as that. 'Cause it's no self to identify.
And I agree with that. Don't
what I-
identify with yourself.
Huh?
That's what I was saying.
Right.
But pitiful person shouldn't be together.
What happened though, and I knew that's what it was. He got hung up on the words because he knew what pitiful meant, I guess, in the dictionary.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I said it, he got locked in on that, and that's all he heard. Am I right?
Yeah.
Even though I wasn't saying that at all. My thing is to destroy all illusion of oneself.
I agree with
Right.
that. I agree with that.
And I had an expectation of what you were gonna say, and I still, to be honest, I still think that it would have made equally as much sense, because we do have to use words and they're confusing, but it would have made equally as much sense if you said no one is pitiful because it's not you anyway.
But how
That's
would
what
you
I'm saying.
determine that if you're up speaking and somebody else speaking through you? How will you determine what you should or should not be saying?
Because you believe that, though. That's what I'm saying, is that, not to cut you off.
No,
but-
go for
Let
it.
me hear him first, and
Okay.
then don't forget
Okay.
your thought.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, we do have to communicate using words, and we have to agree on what words mean.
So
we
when
have to
Christ
agree.
was communicating with people, you think, and they were like, "What are you talking about? You think it's spirit, but that doesn't even make sense." Do you think he was considering who's going to understand it or not?
Well, he was. I don't know what he was thinking, but we have to use words to. We have to agree on the definitions of words. We have to. If we're not all on the same page, as far as what is love, what is hate, what is a man, what is a woman. If we're not all on the same page as far as what those words mean, then we're never going to communicate properly.
You agree with that?
Yeah, can I give my
Yeah.
reason?
The other.
Is that if a person truly understands what's being said, they are going to communicate it correctly. Like, for example, if because you're saying that you have no identities, right?
Right.
But to me, that seems contradictory when you say if you believe this, you're a pitiful person, because that's creating an identity,
Because they have those identities.
Right,
And
but
I'm
they
telling you, those
shouldn't-
are false identities.
right? And they shouldn't have it,
Right.
So they should just say you should not what you should do, right? But I feel like the best way to communicate it is saying that, like, you're not a pitiful person, you're not a bad person, you're not a good person. These are things that you just do, and saying it in that way allows them not to realize, or not to say, "Oh, I am a pitiful person." Because some may go home after the church and say, "You know what? He's right. I am a pitiful person." It may be helpful, but then Satan can go in and be like, "Look at you, pitiful person. You're a pitiful person." And then they start identifying with it slowly over time. But so
That's
how
your
we-
imagination, man.
I'm about
I
to
know.
say that, yeah.
I know, but at
That's
the
playing
same
mama with other people's
Right.
with other people. How you imagine other people may take to
and that's
understand
fair,
it.
and that could be true, but that doesn't
Like, you
mean
gotta
that it's
take
not
it for
true.
yourself.
Right. That could be true, but I'm just saying that, let's just say there is a person who's thinking like that, right? There could be a person who's thinking like that.
There are a whole bunch of people think that way.
Right, but
I talk to
well,
them
why
every day in
give
counseling and everywhere.
why give Satan the foothold of even that idea when it can be replaced
What?
completely? Like, for example,
So
why
you already had a foothold. That's why they think that way.
right? But if pitiful person was never said, right? Satan can never get a foothold.
Yes, he does. You already making them think that way.
Right, but I'm just saying the language of that is not is counterproductive to your message, is what I'm saying.
What?
That's just all I'm saying.
I take it back.
Pitiful
I think,
person
I
is
think
is
people are deserving
counterproductive.
of pity because God had pity on us, and that's why He sent Jesus to save us from this pitiful mess that we're in. And it's pretty pitiful if you still live in that mess.
And it is pitiful, but I'm not a pitiful person.
Listen, let God handle that part. But it sounds like you guys are saying that there are certain ways that it should be said.
Am
Am I right about that?
Right. That
Are you saying that too?
There are certain ways that it should be said.
Yeah.
I guess so.
How are you going to determine that, though? If you, like the devil speak through you, when you
Yeah.
start to overcome the devil,
Yeah.
then God speak to you, how are you going to determine what ways God should say it and when and how?
well, same reason
If
why.
He's just speaking through you, how are you going to, no, God, you should say it this way. That's
Well,
not, if we all going to
yeah.
understand the same language,
Yeah.
because language means this, you got
Yeah.
to say it a certain way. How do you determine that?
Well, that's the thing. That's like how some people believe partner is a husband and wife.
It's not the same thing
But
at
see,
all.
yeah, it is, because you believe partner is a thing, but you're
No.
automatically making it in your mind thinking like there's no other way, right? But other people believe that partner is a thing.
I don't know what Hassan thinks
Or some
about
people
this.
think that, or some people
Well, I
think
didn't
that.
ask him because he wasn't there yesterday,
Oh,
and that's why I didn't ask him about it. I didn't know if he had heard it.
okay. I think it's about time we start calling Satan she. Who's with me? Who's with me?
Female.
But anyway,
yeah.
to let you know, folks, you are living an illusion. And to feel guilty, to put all these titles, you're still laboring yourself. It's what you should not be doing. You got to unload all labors,
Yeah.
no matter what they may be, because
agree.
you're none of those things. That's the point.
That's the point.
That's the point.
Labels.
Labels. Real fast, guys. Joel first. Brand new biblical question. Brand new. Who or what gave you the impression you have of your mother and or grandmother? Who or what gave you the impression you have of your mother or grandmother and or grandmother?
Yeah, I never had a certain impression of my mother or grandmother. For one, I was raised by my mom on my mom's side, and my grandmother my whole life wasn't alive, so I never had that. But I also never had it with my mother as far as like making her a god or anything like that, because she never imposed that on me. But there was still a little bit in there making like, oh well, because she's a woman, because she's your mother, you should love her, you should not speak up. So I think that came upon, Satan just making me believe.
Are you reading
Yes.
something?
I don't know.
Like
I was
something.
looking this way, but no.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Satan. I think it came from Satan, though.
And so your impression of your mother is what? What's what or is what?
Now or in general?
And the impression you have of her from then to now.
Oh, my
Where did you
impression
get that from?
now. Well, my impression now is she's just a normal person. She's just a regular person.
But the impression you had before, where did you get that from?
Me believing that you got to protect your mother. I think it just came from thoughts. I don't know where I got it from, to be honest. I don't know where that came from.
Sean, you say?
Catholicism.
Catholicism gave you an impression you had of your mother and grandmother and
Right.
or grandmother?
Yep.
What is the impression, what's the impression that you have of them?
Just that a mother is pure. They can do no wrong. In Catholicism you have like Mary, and you have this I feel like female worship in Catholicism.
Because that means religion?
Yeah, Catholic, Roman Catholic.
It gave you that impression?
Yeah, there's just in the culture of Catholicism, there's a certain worship of the mother as being
Oh.
as having not being able to do any wrong. And
Yeah, because they even worship Mother Mary, right?
right.
Amazing.
Yeah, a lot of idolatry in Catholicism.
Hey, where you get your impression from?
Her and the devil and my dad and and the Lord.
Hassan, where you get your impression from? This is new, so we didn't discuss this yesterday.
Yeah, just also from my mother as well. Just from my mom and from the world, I suppose. Different.
And your impression of her is what?
I mean, up until recently, that she was God.
Amazing. Let me take a break. When I come back 2 more hours ago, we're going right to the calls and the super chats and everything. My experts. I totally disagree with the way things are going, but you can't be angry because that's what the enemy wants. He wants to control you. They do things to make you mad so they can control you. It's like being married. And the wife would do things to make you mad, or she'll do things to make you feel good. And men do that to women too when they want something from the woman, especially sex. They'll make her feel good or they'll make her angry. And the woman's gonna have to say, you don't want to be angry. You want to speak up. You want to disagree with what's going on. It's wrong, but do not be angry. Then you won't have fear. You won't have doubt. You won't have worries. You'll be able to see, but you got to stay away from anger. That's why you must forgive your mothers and your fathers so that you can overcome the spirit of anger. It's a spirit and it's wicked. Nothing good in anger because it has no love, folks. You need love to defeat evil. And love is not a weakness. It's a strength. It's from God. It's His nature.
A Muslim forgave a hate crime doer? And Antony Blinken running around the Middle East like a chicken with his head cut off. He's gone back there and back like 3 times now, something like that. And Gaza is a mess. This is the end of hour 1 of the JLP Peterson Show. It is Monday. Everybody loves Mondays. It's November 6th, 2023 AD. Stay tuned for hour 2. JLP will be right back to your calls, and we'll get to the Super Chats. But first, Hake news, not fake news. Shout out to the Muslims of peace, am I right? CNN and the Skim report. An Arab Muslim student at Stanford University is advocating for love, understanding, and inclusivity after he was recently struck by a car in a hit and run in what authorities are calling a so-called hate crime. Right on, Mr. Muslim, forgiving them, I guess, if he really did. Driver allegedly yelled, "F you and your people," as in forget, right? The student wrote from his hospital bed, "The world seems to be succumbing to hatred and prejudice, but the attack strengthened his resolve to advocate for love, understanding, and inclusivity." I disavow inclusivity, but love and understanding, right on. It's one of the latest instances of hate-based violence as opposed to domestic violence, which is love-based, or same with war. As many communities in the United States increasingly face tense rhetoric, and ugly, hateful protests surrounding the Israel-Hamas war, which has nothing to do with most people in the United States, maybe any. And Blinken is scrambling. Antony Blinken's joke of a Secretary of State for Sleepy Joe Biden, wrapping up his 3rd visit in the Middle East since the start of the latest Israel-Hamas war. Sounds inefficient, right? It hasn't even been a month, and he's been there 3 times. He's making many trips to and fro. Making the rounds, Israel's Prime Minister, Bibi Netanyahu, he met with. Also officials from Qatar, UAE, United Arab Emirates, and Egypt, Lebanon, and Jordan, pushing for a humanitarian pause for aid to Gaza, getting a mixed reception. Israel says no, that lets Hamas stay in power. Arabs say it doesn't go far enough. They want to end the bombing to protect civilians. Also, he did an unannounced visit to Iraq. Blinken met with Iraqi Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani on recent attacks on U.S. soldiers, about 2,500 American soldiers in Iraq. At least a dozen times they've been attacked, supposedly. Maybe not specifically only Iraq, I'm not sure, but across the Middle East. DOD claims Iranians seem to be behind it. If you believe the Department of Defense, I don't necessarily. Iran supposedly has a network, though, of proxy forces. So, I don't know. The West Bank, too. Separate from Gaza, Blinken met with Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas regarding the Gaza post-war. He wants a comprehensive political solution. He canceled his meeting with Biden, by the way, last month after that hospital explosion hoax. At least 150 Palestinians have been killed in the West Bank since October 7th. How? By whom? Not sure. By who? This year has been the deadliest on record for Palestinians in the West Bank. Turkey. Blinken stops in Turkey today. His visit comes after Turkey recalled their ambassador to Israel, joining Bahrain and Jordan, citing the humanitarian tragedy in Gaza. Meeting with the guys including President Recep Tayyip Erdogan over the Gaza mess. By the way, CIA Director William Burns is visiting Israel, etc., too, regarding the hostages that are held by Hamas. 240 or so. The mess in Gaza. Humanitarian agencies lost contact, according to CNN, with aid workers in Gaza. Palestinian enclave is slowly recovering from their 3rd communications blackout during this war. The disruptions to internet and cell service as Israel expands their ground operation targeting Hamas infrastructure. Israel said they opened a 4-hour evacuation window to secure safe corridors for civilians before they went in to the enclave's coast on Sunday. But the outcry is growing over the Gaza crisis. Deadly blasts continue to strike refugee camps and crowded hospitals. What a mess. Watch out what you eat. Meanwhile, in America, Tyson Foods is recalling some of their dino-shaped nuggets. You know, the dinosaurs-shaped chicken nuggets? They found small metal pieces in them, so be careful. That's according to the ladies at the Skim. I'm James Hake. Now back to JLP, Hour 2.
got to stand up strong. Ain't the truth about themselves to understand what went wrong. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way to stand up, stand up, stand up.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. Welcome to the second hour of the show today. Second hour. You can get involved by calling 888-7753-773. 888-77-JESSE. Jesse. Jesse. My brand new biblical question for this week. A brand new and another doozy. Who or what gave you the impression you have of your mother and or grandmother? Who or what gave you the impression you have of your mother and or grandmother? I like the background there too. Nice scenery. Nice. We have every way that you can watch and support the show listed on jesseleepeterson.com/show. jesseleepeterson.com/show. And if you're out and about doing what you're doing, no matter what it is, laying up at the beach or whatever, you can listen to the show on your iPhone or iPad by calling 641-793-1500, 641-793-1500. And don't forget to follow us on rumble.com/Jesse Lee Peterson. Rumble, you got to know how to rumble.com/Jesse Lee Peterson and Jesse Lee Peterson on Instagram. Like, follow, ring the bell, subscribe, and blah, blah, blah. To donate and have your comments read out loud, go to buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk, buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk, or rebuildingtheman.com/ just rebuildingtheman.com. Rebuildingtheman.com. All right? I want to take a few calls, then we're going to get to some super chats, and I had no idea we were going to go a whole hour with the experts. But you know what? What the? It was amazing. Let me go to a first-time caller, Carter out of Ohio. Let's see here. Carter, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hi.
Hey, Carter.
Hi. I just wanted to give a thank you because I've been one to kind of, whenever politics are kind of involved in the conversation, I've been one to kind of step away from that and kind of try and be quiet, or a little bit more silent. And honestly, just watching your videos, it's made me realize, okay, life is awesome, and and there's a right way to do things, and it's just, I think it's helped me reconnect with my old self.
Absolutely, man, that's amazing. Have you gone and forgiven your mother?
Yes, yeah.
How did that go?
It went really well, actually. Me and my mom have been getting along great.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how about your father?
Me and my father, he helps me. My dad, he helps me with music, and he helps me with this and that.
Nice. Amazing. Well, Carter, if you do the silent prayer and you stay with it and just completely overcome thoughts all thoughts except for practical thoughts. All thoughts are all lies all the time. You will develop a clear mind, and you will no longer think like the world. You will have the mindset of God. It will be amazing. It will be a clear mind. It will make sense. And you will be able to live in this world, but not of it. It will be different for you.
Okay.
Thank you, man. I appreciate your call. Stay with it, all right?
All right, I will. Thank
Okay.
you very much for talking to me.
You're welcome, buddy. Call me again.
All right, sounds good.
Okay. Amazing. I'm telling you, do what you want. I totally understand it. You got to stop thinking like the world, or you will never be free. I want you to smoke on this, encourage you to. Just think about it. Think about it. It is impossible for you and me, any human being, to have a true thought. Think about the word impossible, whatever that means. It's impossible. Impossible. That's what you are to me. Impossible, yeah. It is impossible to have a true thought. And so if it's impossible, why would you believe anything about thoughts? Or any thoughts at all, if it's impossible? In the Word, he said, your thoughts are not mine, and my thoughts are not yours. They're about as far as the north is from the east. Bring every one of them into captivity. My voice is a voiceless voice. I don't talk to you in your head. What the? And my children will know that. They will recognize my voice. I don't talk to you in your head. I reveal, I give you understanding. It's a voiceless voice. Jeff is out of Louisiana. Hey, Jeff, welcome to the show.
Hey, Jess, I just want to ask you a quick question for verification. Kind of get your one thing you say, kind of double talk. You say, and this popped in my mind Friday watching Hake on whatever podcast is on. You say there's no future, no past, but you won't go back to the good old days. Isn't it the past?
Well, when I say good old days, I'm partly joking, but I want the good old days when Americans didn't hate one another, when they were not blaming one another, when black people were not into the slave thing, the Jim Crow thing, but they were individual, when my country was about love and not about hate.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. I totally get it, but wouldn't that also bring up your point of all thoughts are all lies? Because the thoughts change every year. That's why we're in the position we're in now. So if we go back to the good old days, we're going back to thoughts, the thought process of the good old days.
No, you're not. I mean, if you're going back to love,
yes, you are. Yes, you are.
No, real love don't have thoughts. There are no thoughts.
You can talk to me in circles like everybody else about.
What? What do you say? He hung up on me. Jeff, I thought you were my friend. Okay. If you want to believe that, Jeff, I understand, but you ain't got to be hanging up and running. What the? Amazing. Hold on, I'm typing a note. Okay. 888-7753-7733. Jay out of New Hampshire. Jay, there's one line open now. Jay, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, buddy. Hey, this is Fellowship Sunday was awesome. It really was amazing. And I I was kind of laughing the whole time you're talking with your experts. The whole time I was on hold, I'm like, oh, patch me through, because it was funny. Like, so what happened? What I saw from Sunday, right, was you're not. So they were misunderstanding that they thought the way you were speaking was coming with a judgment, but it comes from discernment. You weren't telling anybody that they were wrong.
Right.
You were just stating the truth, and the truth in it sometimes sounds harsh to someone that is playing God, judging how other people are saying or being to one another. And so it's when someone lays down their ego, they're not judging anymore. So they wouldn't be judging you that you said anything wrong. I saw it right away without dwelling in thoughts at all about it. And then I was laughing about, like, cause you guys are talking around about being good. I'll just give a quick example. Same as Christ, like, of myself, I can't do anything without God, just as he. And so like 2 weeks ago, I'm walking, it was raining, with my stepson and my wife, and we're walking into Walmart. And so when you walk in, there's carts off to the right, and there's some dry carts. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to go over there and grab a dry cart. And I grab the cart, and as I'm walking towards the door that we walked in, there's this woman that walks in, this slightly older woman. And without thinking about it or anything, I just was like, ma'am, would you like this cart? I'm like, of course you would. And I just hand it to her, and I go grab another cart, not even thinking anything of it, right? No feelings from it or anything. And we're walking, and my stepson looks up at me, and he goes, that was a really good thing that you just did for that lady. And we stopped for a second, and I was like, can I tell you something about that? And he was like, yeah. And I go, you know how you judged that, you thought that was a good thing that I did? And he's like, yeah. And I go, I didn't do what I did for a feeling in return. I said, what happened was, because that good that you saw is not my good. That's God's good that got to work through me, because I'm not receiving an emotion from it. It's no different than this conversation we're having right now with you and me. I'm not having a feeling over it. And I realized that of myself, I'm really just doing God's will. And it was really cool that he got to see that. And it really was amazing. And I could see exactly what you were explaining on Sunday. And even today, it was pitiful. They couldn't even see it today when they were talking with you. I'm just kidding. But no, so with that,
how old is your godson?
My stepson is 11.
Stepson. Oh, okay.
And he also now no longer is yelling at his video games and stuff, because he's understanding that anger that he had was in there is not his. And to see a transformation in this 11-year-old is amazing over the past year and a half. But so no, I just wanted to clarify with your experts that Jesse wasn't judging anybody. Where his truth was coming from, it's not his truth, it's God's truth. It was just coming from a discernment, and that reflection. He just wanted people to be able to reflect back inwardly at themselves. And it's not Jesse's statement that's going to make somebody dwell in their pitifulness even worse. The pitifulness is already there. Jesse's just talking the truth, and hopefully God will let that person see it. Because if God doesn't allow the outside world to show you the things that are wrong in you, Jesse can't walk it for you, and neither can anyone else. You have to see it within yourself by God allowing you to see it when you're ready to see it.
Thank you, Jay. I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
You got it, buddy.
Amazing. 888-7753-773. Daniel out of Georgia. Georgia on my mind. Daniel, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hey, Jesse, what's going on, man?
All is well, Daniel.
Good. So my main question was, I was listening to the church yesterday, and I think you were talking to a lady. She was talking about learning from her relationships, and then you talked to another lady that she said that she needs a relationship. And then one thing that kind of clicked with me was when you said people that don't need relationships are perfect. Can you kind of expand on that? Because I don't think I need anything or any person to make me feel any kind of way. So I always thought that was, the thoughts made me think that was wrong. But when you said that, something just kind of clicked. Can you kind of maybe explain that, what you meant by that?
Y'all can podcast yesterday fellowship folks at rebuildingtheman.com/church. I don't remember exactly what was said back and forth, but if I'm a little bit remembering, what I'm saying is that you have a better of a chance returning to the Father without a relationship than you do with a relationship, because in relationship, both parties are trying to get something from one another. And that they're trying to get, they don't have. Neither have it to give to the other, so they end up fighting one another. And there was a little talk about you learn in relationships, and so when you get into the next relationship, you're better at it. That's not true. Number one, you don't learn from relationship, and whatever you go through in one relationship, it just makes it even worse for the new relationship. That's why new relationships don't even work either, because people are not learning. You can't learn. Learning things is not going to make you better in life. Understanding things will make you better, not learning.
So even if someone understood, you still think they shouldn't get into a relationship with somebody?
Well, I'm not saying that they should or should not, but don't get into a relationship trying to get something.
And what? Okay, now I'm remembering. So what really stuck out to me, you said that if you don't want kids, there's no need to be in a relationship, correct?
Right. If you're not going to
that's what resonated with me, because I don't want kids. I've never wanted them. I think I was changing diapers at 10, 11 years old, doing things. I was like, I don't want to do this. So it's not, as an adult, I realized I still don't want to change diapers and worry about somebody. But then when I tell people that, they're like, oh, you're selfish. Like, you don't want to, didn't God said be fruitful and all that kind of stuff? And it would make me, back then it would make me like feel a certain kind of way. Like maybe I do, but I realized I don't want kids. So there's there's nothing wrong with just living life.
And you're right. Did you forgive your mother for traumatizing you like that at such an early age? Having you change diapers and making you the mama?
Yeah, I definitely have. Yeah. I did not like that. They was always looking at me as like a role model. You should be a role model or a father figure to your brothers.
What a setup.
And I never liked that. I was like, I'm not their dad. Like, I'm not.
That's right. They were doing that to make. They were doing that to stroke your ego to get you to babysit.
Yeah, and it didn't. It wasn't stroking my ego. It was just making things not good. It was just making things worse. It was putting pressure on me to be something that I didn't want to be. So,
absolutely, man.
I thank you for that. Go ahead.
You went and forgave your mother for doing that, right?
Yeah, I forgave her for a ton of things. I didn't say specifically that.
Right.
But I forgave. I was at your church not like a month ago. I was there about a month ago, but I definitely forgave.
Right on.
And yeah, I just want to thank you for everything you've been doing.
You're welcome, buddy.
Just when it's like when you say certain things, it things click, and it's like things that I've already known, but I guess maybe hearing it through another channel or another voice, it just makes it click.
And so what it does is it reminds you of the truth that you already know within you. And the same God that is showing me is showing you. He's revealing it to you within yourself. That's how you know that it's true. And once that is revealed to you, then no one can ever make you doubt it, because it's been given to you by God, not by another human being.
Right.
Amazing.
Well, yeah, amazing. That's pretty much it, man. I'm gonna keep listening and just thank you for doing what you're doing, and just God working through you to just spread the truth, man. Appreciate you, Jesse.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Amazing. And by the way, boys and men should not be changing diapers. That is the job of the mother, the wife, not the man. Any man that changes diapers is a beta. Just know while you're changing the diaper, no matter what your wife have convinced you, and your mama have convinced you a beta. Beta. Men don't even know how to change diaper the way women do, because it's in the woman's blood to change the diaper. You've been taught like a monkey to change a diaper. What the? Super chat. Super chat. And by the way, this shirt, mildly attractive, is from the Hake Report.
Nice.
The Hake Report. Mildly attractive Hake Report.
Right on. My shirt, Men's History Month, is from Jesse the Peterson store. Rebuildingtheman.com/stores.
How can people get this?
TheHakeReport.com.
The Hake
And then
Report.
there's a link to the Teespring
Nice.
in the menu.
Super chat.
Justin Childers bought a coffee. Jesse, there's a lot of words like that. This is from Friday. Short, little will make a short man react. Fat, chubby, pudgy will make a fat woman react. Nazi, Hitler will make the Germans react and throw you in a prison if you say it publicly in their country. It's all just words.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking of reflecting on Friday's show and the Hate Report prior to that, and the Anchor Baby show, the American Anchor Baby. And that word, the N word, came up over and over again. And I was reflecting on that, and I was thinking, and I understand it, been there, done that, so it's not without understanding. But I was thinking, it's amazing to me that human beings, adult human beings, grown folks, because even grown folks are like children now, but that you literally can allow yourself to be affected by a word, even if the word is not directed at you. But even if it was directed at you, why don't you question, why am I affected by what another human being say or think if they call me this or that? How come you don't question that? What's wrong with me that I'm reacting to it, overreacting to it? How come that seemed normal to act that way? I remember, if I'm correct, I think it was Hate Report, where a grown man called in and called the other guy a bitch. You a bitch. Over a word, and this guy didn't know him. He wasn't talking about him or anything. And then some other guy called in, well, that's a slave. That's what they use on the blacks in slavery. How come you don't know? They taught me in my generation when I was growing up, sticks and stones may hurt my bones, but word would never harm me. So in those generations, they knew that it was a battle between good and evil, and that evil people would try to hurt you with words, but words shouldn't be bothering you. Words are not sticks and stones. It's just a word that another angry, evil person uses to try to hurt you. And so if you do feel something about it, it should indicate that there's something wrong with you. How come you don't see it, Hake? Hassan, how come?
It's very perplexing.
I like that word.
It's really tempting to judge the other person if the person is tempting you to judge them. So you just think about how they're wrong. You can't look at yourself.
So the person that calling you the name is tempting you to judge them?
Yeah.
Oh. But if you're never affected by words, you can't judge the fellow man. You see that they're evil, but you also understand they can't help it. So you're not moved by it.
Yeah. But that word doesn't even necessarily make the person who said it evil.
I know. That's right. Hassan, when you say perplexing, what do you mean? I like the word. It sounds good.
Well, yeah, it just makes me think about about a month or two ago now, there was and we talked about it briefly on Hake's show. There was someone at the basketball court, someone called him the N-word, and they got into a huge fight. And it was interesting because afterwards I tried to talk to the guy and I was like, hey, man, you did beat the guy up and you physically won today, but spiritually and mentally, that guy owns you.
Yeah.
That guy won because, you overreacted and he controls you. It's ironic that, especially with that specific word, he's like, well, he's not going to talk to me like that. I'm not his slave. I'm like, but you are his slave because he just controlled you. So, yeah, it's perplexing that we do get all puffed up on the spirit behind the words. I think it's the energy behind the words that we start to read into, and we start to feel like defensive and go into these defense mechanisms. So
you make a good point, because the guest that was on Hake show, what was his name?
Krishan the Don.
Krishan the Don. He was like calm and collective and just having a conversation. And the hearer was like totally overreacting to him. And he was calm, and they didn't realize that he was controlling them without even trying. Yeah, he didn't know him. He had never seen him. I don't know if he had ever heard their voices before that day. But he had total control over them. And they didn't know it.
Yeah, it was interesting. You mentioned the one who called him a B word.
A bitch.
And that was even before you even really said that word, at least that much.
Right.
He didn't say it with a hard R at that point, I don't think. But it was funny because that guy didn't realize that he thought he was fighting fire with fire. But the guy didn't feel like he was fighting anybody.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, okay.
That's crazy how that is. If you're up right and then somebody else is up wrong, they're going to fight with you, and they'll fight it by themselves because you're not even fighting back. You have laid your weapon down.
Yeah.
What a mess. And in their mind, in the angry person's mind, they think they'll win in a fight. As Hassan just said, the guy that beat up the other guy physically lost the fight because the person that he got mad at has control over him.
Yeah.
What? Anyway.
Beta word enjoyer bought a coffee. I left home when I was 20. 3 years ago, I bought an acre of land. I consistently put in work and some money over the weekends and vacation. I eventually raised my own house, mortgage-free. Had I allowed Mama to influence me, I'd still be living at home like a beta.
That's amazing, but we read that before.
I know, this sounds familiar.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cow bought 3 coffees. How long did it take you not to feel good or bad about all things once you woke up?
That's a good question.
Maybe that's why I read that one again, because this one I hadn't read.
Oh, how long did it take you
not to feel good or bad about all things once you woke up?
It's been happening over the years. And what I noticed, that when situations would happen, I would notice that inwardly, I didn't feel anything about it. And I understood. So there was no fight in me. And I'm like, wow, that was interesting. There was nothing for me to do. So it's been happening over the years, to be honest. And it just have gotten clearer and clearer and clearer as a result of not overreacting, not judging my fellow man or woman, but not taking part in it. So it's like a layers and layers of identities has been taken away. So it's been a while, but it happened. Whenever you don't react to something, it will happen to you too, because you are being still and you are allowing God to fight your battle for you, because it's always a spiritual battle. So just be patient and watch it. Don't worry about the time. Just stop reacting to situations. Let the thoughts go, emotion go, and you'll be fine. Amazing question. Thank you. Let me take a break.
Cool.
And then when I come back, we'll finish the super chats and then your phone calls. 888-7753-773. Back in a moment. We have a counseling service, and I have to admit, thanks to God, it is the best counseling service on this side of heaven. I counsel with men and women, families, individuals around the world. Most people are unhappy, they're miserable, they have rough lives, they're depressed, suicidal, young and old, of all races. I understand, I know why, and I do understand it. Because exactly what's happening in me is happening with everybody outside of me, inside of them. And I've noticed that with those who really, really, really want to understand, they overcome it just like that, out of one counseling session. If you need counseling, you can go to rebuildingaman.com or call 800-411-2663. 800-411-BOND. Best counseling service on this side of heaven. This is Trump. The Hake Report is coming up at the top of this hour. The Hake, H-A-K-E report.com. And at 12 noon, the American Anchor Baby. The American Anchor Baby at 12 noon Pacific time. And the Hake Report is from 9 to 11 a.m. Pacific time. Did y'all remember that the time went backwards yesterday? I wish they'd leave the time alone. What the? But it went back an hour, so you get to sleep in a little longer, I guess. And don't forget, we have the best counseling service on this side of heaven. If you need it, individual, family, whatever, counseling, right? By phone, Skype, or walk-in. Call 800-411-BOND, 800-411-2663. Or go to rebuildingaman.com to make an appointment. And once again, be patient, because it's like really, I'm telling you in advance, because some people are impatient with the scheduler, and they're like, I want to know. Well, not now. Now. And that is booked up. And we will get you in, though. Definitely will. And you can also request, if someone should cancel, let me know. We'll do that as well, right? So be patient. 800-411-BOND or rebuildingaman.com. And don't forget to make your donations at rebuildingaman.com. We're a nonprofit, and we're doing a whole bunch of stuff with your support. rebuildingaman.com/donate. Let me go to Jason, then we get back to that out of Canada. Jason, thanks for calling. Thanks for holding you on the air.
Hey, Jesse.
Hey, Jason.
I wanted to say that I've actually managed to quit down drinking.
You stopped drinking?
Well, I didn't stop. I took 2 beers last night, but, I've definitely diminished a lot.
Oh, so you're the Jason that would call the show, and every time you call, you were already be drunk?
Yeah. Yeah, and you said to call you sober, so that's what I'm doing now.
Right on, man. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. Well, we don't know what the future holds, but
don't even think about the future.
It's looking brighter.
Right on,
right
man.
now it's brighter than it was.
Right on. And so how does it feel to not be drunk this time of day?
Well, it definitely feels better. I mean, I know I'm actually going to be able to do stuff. But I wasn't, like, drunk every day, right? But but definitely last week was definitely one of the weeks where I was the drunkest, I guess.
Right on. And so why were you getting drunk so much and so often?
Well, I was definitely listening to the thoughts of, let's have some fun. Let's just do this and that. And now I know that all I have to do is to be conscious and to doubt them.
Absolutely,
because,
man.
I find myself, it's like, well, today, of course, the thoughts would be, well, you can take like 1 beer or something like that. But I know that if I do that, I'm going to go through the old crate, and that's not what I want.
That's right. You got it right, too, because the thoughts will tell you, oh, just take one beer. That's fine. Yeah, it's not like you're not going to get drunk. And as soon as you drink the one beer, it'll tell you, one more. That was good. One more, just to tip it off. And next thing you know, you're drunk again.
Yeah, especially at this hour. like if you're already tired, you take one beer, and maybe.
Yeah. That's amazing, man. Are you doing the silent prayer?
Yes, I've actually started doing it more and more, pretty much every day. Sometimes I do it without even wanting, because I wake up and then I think about stuff, and I take some time, and I see, that doesn't make any sense, right? What I'm thinking right now doesn't make any sense. I shouldn't be doing that.
Yes.
Or yes, I should definitely get up now. Right? Once it's over and I've thought it through.
Wow. This is an amazing call. I'm telling you, man, as a living witness, it's not like something I heard or somebody else said it. If you doubt every thought, the more you doubt them, the more they will be taken away from you. And then the more and more it will become easier and easier to live with a clear mind. And the devil will have to leave your mind and body completely, because he will no longer be able to control you. You're being controlled by the light. And he will have to go and make a home in someone else, because he lives in human beings. And he will never be able to torment you again, because he will have to depart from you.
Right.
And so
it's like when I think something, I can almost, I can hear God's voice saying, like, are you really sure about that? Is that really what you want, right? It's like, well, actually, no, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I want to get drunk right now. Are you sure about that? Actually, no, I don't want to get drunk.
That's right. Wow.
I almost forgot I didn't want to get drunk, right?
That's right, man. This is an amazing call. It's good to be talking to you when you're not drunk, too.
Yeah, well, I'm usually a little bit more interesting. Well, I would be more interesting to the people that are drunk if I'm drunk.
Right.
But at the same time, maybe that's not exactly what I want to be. I don't want to be interesting to drunk people. That's not interesting.
That's right, man. How old are you, Jason?
27.
Wow. Jason, stay with it. Stay with it. And if, God forbid, you have to get drunk in it, don't judge yourself at all, because Satan will influence you to get drunk, and then he will make you judge yourself. He will tell you how often, I thought you were not going to get drunk anymore. I thought this, and it'll make it sound like it's you, but it's not you. But stay with the silent prayer and just practice letting I don't care what happened out there in that world and inside of your imagination, you let those thoughts pass, and you're going to, as Hassan, you're going to walk on water.
Well, I don't know about that, but maybe I don't need to walk on water.
Meaning that you're going to be a free man.
Yeah, I knew what you meant. But and I was listening to the conversation you had earlier about the pitiful stuff.
Yes.
And I definitely realize now that I was being pitiful.
Absolutely.
And I know what you mean, because the conversation is like, oh, well, but now people are going to be judging themselves. And when you, how should I say this? When you are judging yourself, you do have pity upon yourself.
Absolutely. That's
you
deep.
live in pitifulness, which makes you pitiful.
That is so true, man.
And in the definition of like deserving pity, well, whatever you believe is what is, right?
Yep.
So if you have pity, you do deserve pity.
Amazing. And the beautiful thing about that, if you stay on this, you're going to see that the thing that was judging you, making you believe that you were pitiful, was all an illusion, because there is no you to feel pitiful. It's an illusion. It's not a you to feel pitiful at all. It's all fake. And this thing makes you feel that way because it makes you feel the pain in the body and the mind because it wants to stay alive. And so it's not even you that's feeling that way. It's a false image of you. It's not you at all.
Right.
Amazing.
Oh, and I also want to answer the biblical question.
From today?
Yeah.
Who or what gave you the impression you have of your mother and or grandmother?
Definitely from them.
From them. Tell me what you mean.
Well, when you're young and everything, you say things to your mother, whatever, right? And she always tells you how she is. This is something that, well, not just her, almost everybody do that. Oh, I'm this, oh, I'm that. So you believe them.
Yeah.
But it's not even true. It's what they believe about themselves, but it's not true.
Amazing. I want to respond to that, but I can't. That is deep. It's very deep, but I can't respond. I put my little 2 cents in on Sunday.
Right.
That's amazing.
Definitely want to hear it.
I want to ask this before I run here. One time you called in when you were drunk and you said something like, because I don't remember exactly, that you was concerned about how everybody around you saw you and that they saw you as no good and you can never live up to something like, you remember that?
More or less.
And do you still feel that way?
Well, yes, in a way, right? Because I definitely think about it. It's like, oh, no, people see me. But at the same time, I don't really care. So
Nice. Yeah, that's what I'm going to tell you. Let those thoughts go too, because there's not one reason in the whole world that you should think one iota about what someone think of you.
Yeah, I definitely I'm trying to doubt that as much as possible and make it more clear.
Yeah, and it will be. As long as you know it's just a thought that brings on a false feelings, you let that pass, you will get past that too, because when the thought of it is gone, it doesn't exist anymore.
Right. You basically got to focus on the right thing.
Absolutely. Amazing. Well, Jason, you have made my day. I got to run, but I'm glad you called me when you were sober.
I'm glad I did too.
Amazing. Call me again, man, and stay with it, all right?
All right.
Thank you, Jason.
All right.
Bye now.
Bye.
Amazing. Isn't that amazing? I saw he called when he was sober.
Praise God.
Well, I'm saying, praise the Lord. This is Hoover the Holland.
He sounds so different.
Logical, in control, aware of what he's doing. Amazing. Stay with it, Jason. There's a line open, 888-7753-773, Super Chat.
Gary. Excuse me.
Super Chats.
Let me clear my throat. Gary bought 3 coffees. Pardon me, guys. One of my favorite things to do is light a blunt object and watch JLP's Pot Smokers for Jesse. I disavow.
Pot Smokers for Jesse. Thank you.
Zuzu CC on bought a coffee. These are from Friday, by the way. Jesse Boo, it's a long story. I have to call and talk to you. Hake had a guess. He took freedom of speech too far, disguised as a Trump supporter. P.S. It's not about words, it's the arrogance for me.
It shouldn't be a bother you at all, CI. And it doesn't make it if the guy was liberal or Democrat or pretend to be for Trump or not really for Trump or not. You should be moved either way. Anything that affects you is happening in you, in your mind, and in your emotions. And I did hear some people say, oh, you're just a liberal, right? But it shouldn't matter if you're liberal or conservative. The spirit is the same. It's the same. And if you are being affected, I promise you, the problem is with you, not with anyone else but you. And conservatives are as cruel and evil as liberals. They are no different. They just have a different title, but the spirit is the same. But call me, CR. Amazing. Thank you.
Billy bought a coffee. Why don't you have a online meeting for men?
That's what the radio for.
Nice.
We have it with the radio. But the monthly forums is because they are like totally private, and we don't record or take pictures or anything because we want the guys to freely be themselves, speak up or whatever they have to do, right? And what happens there stays there. So that's why the men and the women forum are set apart like that. But on Sundays and the radio shows and the Father's Day, it's all open to everybody. Amazing. Thank you, though.
Nobody asks, is it evil for my husband to demand I not eat pork even if he isn't around? I know I'm supposed to obey my husband, but what's wrong with a bacon cheeseburger or a pepperoni pizza once in a while?
Ain't nothing wrong with a little bit of piece of pork once in a while. I know I wouldn't call it evil or good. You know, don't get angry. You'll see the right thing to do. But I had a little piece of pork yesterday. No, I didn't have. They didn't have it. I wanted a burrito. And instead of having chicken or beef in it, I wanted pork, but they didn't have it. So I had to end up getting chicken.
Darn. Someone bought a coffee.
Thank you.
Jesse, saying the N-word is just a word makes me think of the Bee Gees lyrics. It's only words, and words are all I have to take your heart away.
Stand alive, stand alive. Stand alive.
Anyhow.
Thank you.
Can you guys please add a little of NWA's Express Yourself for Friday shows? Have an amazing weekend. Stars eyes emoji.
Thank you. What's the NWA?
N-words with attitude.
No.
They have a song, Express Yourself.
Is it ripping off the original?
Yeah.
Express Yourself? We used to play the original.
Yeah, we used to play it on the radio all the time.
Dun, dun,
Yeah, they sampled it.
It's not what you look like when you're doing what you're doing. It's what you're doing when you look like you're doing what you're doing. Express yourself.
Something like that.
Amazing.
Henry Ford lives
Thank
with the
you.
diamond. Tupac is in Argentina with Hitler and the Nazis.
Amazing. Thank you.
Canadian David, monthly supporter on Rumble. No isms.
That's right. Thank you.
Being enlightened till I rise.
That
Bought
was
10.
nice to talk to Jason, not drunk, huh?
For sure.
Oh.
10 coffees from Being Enlightened till I rise. Morning, gentlemen. Biblical question answer from last week.
Who is this from?
Being Enlightened till I rise.
Nice.
What's
last
it?
week. I forgot what it was.
Are you
a beautiful person?
Jesse, I'm not going to say I don't know. The answer is just not clear yet. I see how I am pitiful, but then I also see God didn't make me to be pitiful. So it's only my identity with the word, right? Or no? Don't know. Need more insight and wisdom, so I'm waiting till Sunday. Laughing face emoji. This was from Friday,
Right.
pre-Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Here's some more money, though, for making me look at myself.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Podcast last Sunday, rebuildingtheman.com. We dealt with that. Thank you.
Riley JM, 3 coffees. I was at my dad's house playing electric guitar with him. Then all of a sudden, my mom came into the music room and said, I know how to play guitar, too. She said in a joking / jealous tone, Werther.
Ain't nothing like a jealous mama. I was talking to someone, they called me up. And they're like, why don't y'all ever deal with women who make their sons their husbands? Or boyfriend or husband. My baby mama made my son her husband. He's 25 years old and still living with mama, waiting on her hand and foot and feet. And my mama and his girlfriend live with them now. And she done made him her husband. I'm like, we deal with that all the time, buddy. You're a day late and $1 short. Amazing. Thank you.
Someone, hi, Jesse. Our tots are evil? What? I'm a Mexican, not a Mexicant. I like the Great White Hope.
Nice. Let me see what he has to say today. I haven't heard from him in a minute. Let me see what the Great White Hope has to say.
Fox and Friends in the morning, they're very honorable people.
Indeed.
Amazing. Thank you.
Justin Childers bought a coffee. Jesse, even Christian women seem to think men and women are the same.
Yeah.
They don't understand that God made one to lead and the other to follow. A marriage isn't an equal partnership. The wife has a non-leading role to fulfill, and the man is the head. Anything with two heads is a freak.
That's right. The one thing I know for sure and without a doubt, men were created to lead and women were created to follow. In every situation, you need a leader, and that's the man. And I don't care what society says, they like it or not, they try to make it be something. It's like the same as trying to make a man wear a dress and call him a woman. Or a woman in a pantsuit and call her a man. Men were created to lead, and women were created to follow. And just because you put a woman up there and you call her that a leader, she's not a leader. Just like a man calls himself a woman in a dress, or a woman calls herself a man in a suit. She's still a man, a woman, and he's still a male. So, men were created to lead, without a doubt. And look at the world around you. Look at the homes where men are not leading. And men have to lead with confidence. Not ego, but confidence. Not pride, but confidence. And then you make a great leader. And because it wouldn't be you, it would be the light of the Father working through you. He would be doing the leading. You would be following him. The world wouldn't know that, but you would know it. Amazing. Thank you.
Last one from Friday. Someone bought a coffee. Alpha male, silverback, lumberjack's beard, chest hair, gladiator's back, Mason's arms, Viking's voice, Spartan stallion. Amazing.
Amazing. Thank you. Amazing. We got to take a phone call and a break.
All right.
And we'll finish when I come back. We got to take a quick phone call here. Alex is a first-time caller out of Illinois. Alex, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hi, Jesse. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Amazing. I just wanted to thank you for telling me to forgive my father and let go like 2 years ago.
Yes.
I let go from all of my, arguments. I used to be an atheist, and I was like, God, are you real or not? And I was just really stressed out. And I gave up, and I felt like perfect peace for a couple of days. I had no thoughts. I understood the Bible. It was just perfect. I had perfect love and perfect peace, but then it kind of faded away again.
Yes.
And I'm just wondering, I want to get that peace back so bad, and I tried to do the silent prayer, meditate, and it's like there's no way to get it back. It's just so hard. And I also wanted to ask about my addiction to social media. It's just like, I know I'm addicted to YouTube and just watching videos, and
Right.
It's like impossible to break it.
Can you hold for me? Let me take a break.
Sure.
All right, let me take a break. Good question. I'll take a break. When I come back, we're going to move more phone calls and super chats. We got to catch up on those. 1 more hour to go, right? It's only one more, right?
That's right.
It's going by so fast. Another hour to go. When I come back, your phone calls and super chats. Back in a moment. Steve, thank you for calling and thanks for holding. How have you been helped by the show?
I'm going to tell you this. I believe you might go down in history as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, black man that ever lived on planet Earth, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know anybody before you that's been that great. Freeing the slaves is one thing, but you've been freeing people of their mind, which matters, it should be anyhow, to you more than anything else, because with the mind not being right, there ain't nothing else going to happen right anyway.
If you can doubt every thought because you're not your thoughts, if you can doubt every thought, knowing that you're not your thoughts, you don't create them, they're not from God, that they're from the deceiver, the great deceiver, Satan. If you can doubt every thought, you can be free, just like that. At an instant. Bring every thought into captivity. It's so amazing.
A whole lot of mess going on in the world. This is the end of hour 2 of the JLP show. There is one line open. You can call in during Hake News, not fake news, and JLP will be right back to you guys. After the Jason Lee Peterson show, the Hake Report, and after that, American Anchor Baby. Catch his show from Friday. It was a fun marathon show from Friday evening. Nice. American Anchor Baby on YouTube and Rumble, and Gorgon's Ola on DLive. Nice. A fun poll from the ladies at the Skim. Trump, new poll shows he's leading President Biden in 5 swing states. Among voters' concerns, Biden's too old and can't handle the economy. Facts. Election workers can't handle the heat. A growing number of exodus of local election officials is raising alarms, according to Commie Nonsense Network, CNN. Ahead of the 2024 presidential contest, officials say many workers are resigning or retiring because they continue to face a barrage of threats, harassment, partisan interference in their duties, first ignited by Donald Trump's false claims of a stolen election in 2020, which I disavow for the sake of all the channels. In one region alone, across 11 western states, more than 160 top election officials have left their positions since November 2020. According to a study from Issue 1, nonprofit watchdog group tracking the departures. In some counties, a typical level of experience of officials has also dropped from about 8 years to 1, per an analysis. Extreme weather, more than 60 record high temperatures expected from Arizona to New York this week, beginning today through Wednesday. Above average temperatures. Global warming is real, guys, see? To make their way through parts of the southwestern United States today, gradually move east by the middle of the week, say meteorologists. However, cold air is expected to return quickly in some cities by Friday. St. Louis, for example, expected to drop from a high of 83 degrees on Wednesday down to a 61-degree high later in the week. Denver and some other areas in the west expected to see a similar drop from 75-degree high on Tuesday to the highs in the 40s. Wow, within a day. Freezing, almost. New Delhi. In pollution in New Delhi, home to more than 20 million people, blanketed with smog, forcing schools to shut down and disrupting the Cricket World Cup. This is in India. The airborne particle pollution in India's capital stands at PM 2.5, a concentration nearly 80 times the World Health Organization's recommended limit, according to Swiss air quality company IQ Air. This is according to Commie Nonsense Network, by the way. The city's air quality declined last week after colder temperatures trapped particles from surrounding crop burning, creating a toxic haze that hit hazardous levels for the 4th straight day today. Exposure to this type of pollution can impair cognitive and immune functions with links to lung and heart disorders. What a mess, huh? You remember the Ukraine war? Here's a quote. "People are tired. Everyone is tired. But this is not a stalemate." That's Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Remember him? Not to be confused with Nick, the American Anchor Baby. Responding to concerns that people are getting tired after 18 months of war in that country. Volodymyr Zelensky, not a Christian. His comments follow an assessment by his own military chief that the war with Russia is at a stalemate. But he says it's not a stalemate. Deepening a feud in Kiev, which has heightened the nerves of the Israel-Hamas conflict, is drawing Western support away from the war in Ukraine. What a mess. Bump stocks are going to the Supreme Court. Ridiculous, huh? Over the weekend, the Supreme Court agreed to take up a case challenging the Trump-era ban, according to the ladies at the Skim, on the accessory bump stocks for semi-automatic rifles. They fire up to 100 rounds a minute when paired with an assault-style rifle, say the ladies at the Skim, like they know what they're talking about. A weapon that's banned in at least 10 states and has been used in several so-called mass shootings. In 2017, President Trump banned bump stocks after that Las Vegas mass murder that we never really heard any details about, the real details, the full backstory, the motive, or anything. Now a question is whether the bump stocks can be classified as machine guns and banned under evil federal law. Federal courts have been split on the legality of the ban put in by our greatest President Trump. He's still our greatest, irregardless of the bump stock ban. I'm James Hake. Now back to JLP, Hour 3.
got to stand up strong, face the truth about themselves, to understand what went wrong. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way to stand up, stand up, stand up.
Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing them with lies. We're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. I am Jesse Lee Peterson. Welcome to the third hour of the show already. Believe it or not, it's the third hour already. There are two lines open if you want to jump in there. 888-7753-773. 888-77-JESSE. We have every way that you can watch and support the show listed on JesseLeePeterson.com. JesseLeePeterson.com. Also, you can listen to the show live while you're doing what you're doing, whatever you're doing, laying around doing nothing. You can watch it live or you can listen live by calling your iPhone or iPad at 641-793-1500. 641-793-1500. And follow us on Jesse Lee Peterson on Instagram and JLP Talk on X. And we're going to get back to your super chats here in a minute, but you can donate and have your comments read out loud at buymeacoffee.com, buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk, or rebuildingtheman.com, rebuildingtheman.com. Brand new biblical question for this week. It's a doozy. Brand new biblical question. Who or what gave you the impression you have of your mother and or grandmother? Who or what gave you, come back, who or what gave you the impression you have of your mother and or grandmother? Thank you. Who gave you that impression you have? Have you ever thought about that? Why do I see my mother and grandmother the way I see them? Who taught me that? Who told me that? Because you're definitely not seeing them with clear eyes. That's for sure. I can't tell you that. Daylight savings time, we gained an hour of sleep Saturday night. I didn't mention that last week that I remember on my show, and I had forgotten about it, but we gained an hour of sleep, daylight saving time. I don't like it. I like long days and short nights. But anyway, 1 year until 2024 election. Do you know that? 1 year, November 5th, 2024. And if this year is a sign of time going by fast, it'll be here before you know it. It's going to be here so fast it makes you swim it in the head. 1 year, November 5th, 2024, election time. And believe me, it's going to be hell between now and then. And they're going to try to make you think that the economy is fine and all is well all of a sudden. Be aware of the game that's been played on you. All right? Be aware. Be aware. Let me go quickly back to Alex, a first-time call out of Illinois. I had to put him on hold there. We went to a break. And Alex went and forgave. He had amazing peace when he did that. And it lasted. And then now he doesn't feel that peace. Am I right, Alex?
That's right. I felt it for like a couple of days, especially after forgiving my mother. I didn't really tell my father I forgive him, but I did forgive him. I got a great relationship with him now. But then again, I just fell into depression. And it's like every day I'm trying to do stuff on my own and I'm trying to create a plan on how to better myself, but I just can't seem to do it. It's just like impossible.
What kind of plan are you doing to better yourself?
So I'm always trying to like create new habits, but it never lasts. Like I
Yeah.
do it for one day, I have a perfect day, but then the next day I'm lazy again. I just can't do nothing of myself. It's just kind of like insane. But I'm just afraid that if I start doing the silent prayer, then I will just not think about it, and I just won't do anything. I'm just not sure what to do now.
So you're afraid that if you should do the silent prayer, you won't think about making yourself better?
That's right.
And what self are you trying to make better?
It's just like improving myself. I don't know, going to the gym, reading books.
Who is the self?
I guess me. No, I don't know. It's not my thoughts, right? I have no idea.
And so you have no idea who the self is that you're trying to make better?
I guess my body, probably.
Your
And my
body?
mind. Yeah.
Are you your body?
Well, not only my body. I'm also my mind and my soul, I guess.
You are your mind?
Well, it's more like my mind is my tool. I guess I'm just my soul.
So you are your mind and your body?
Yeah, okay, you're right. I'm probably not those things.
No,
but
that was a question.
Those things serve me. No, I think I'm not.
You're not. So who is the self that you're trying to make better?
My soul, maybe. That's the last thing.
You are your soul?
Yeah, I think so.
And what
I
is your
believe I'm my
soul?
soul. I cannot describe that. I just heard that from other people. It sounds good.
That's right. But let me just tell you this. The peace that you experienced when you forgave your mother, you still have it. And this thing that's feeling disturbed by that is not you. That's the evil spirit that made a home in your mind and emotions, and it feels like you, but it's not you. And it does not have peace because you have discovered the light of God and you have welcomed him back into your body. And now he is destroying this false image of mind, feelings, emotions, and body. You are not your mind, you're not your body, you're not the feeling. And so the trembling and the fear and the unhappiness that you feel in your body is not you. That's the evil spirit that made a home in you. And as soon as you stop identifying with it by calling it you, then you won't have nothing but peace, and this thing will have to leave you after a while.
All right.
The real you still have that peace. The fake you don't have peace. And that's what you are aware of now. This thing that you feel that don't have peace is not you at all. Let that die. That's a false state of being. That's a false identity. So stop calling it you. It is not you.
That's interesting. I'll try to do that. But I also just wanted to say, I just moved to America a couple of months ago, and I thought this is like a great free place. This place sucks. What the hell? I can't even buy a gun. Yo.
Yeah, you can say that again. America is not America anymore. We are quickly becoming a socialist third world country.
It's insane. It's less free than the country that I came from in Europe. It's just like crazy, and I see all the immoral people. It's just like, wow, what a mess.
Yeah, it's a mess.
That.
And then the last thing I want to tell you about overcoming the video, you said you watch a lot of videos and you don't want to or something like that?
Yeah, exactly. I just can't stop it because it's like I'm filling a void with it. And when I stop watching them, I just feel depressed again and like I'm alone.
Okay, here's what I recommend. When you do stop looking at them and you feel that depressed, that's not you either. That's that thing that want you looking at the videos so you can get a false sense of life. It's not you at all. So when you're not looking at it, it's having a hissy fit because you are calming down. And the last thing it wants is for you to calm down. It wants you active. It wants you overreacting. It wants you to take life personal. It wants you to feel lonely and loss and all that so that you can overreact and keep it alive. And so the next time that you feel that, relax and let that feeling pass. Those thoughts and feeling pass. And what is passing is this false state of being. It's another layer of ego that's dying. And if you do find yourself watching the videos again, just notice, be aware that you're watching them. And being aware that you're watching, it's the mind, it's the consciousness of God. And that awareness is destroying the nature, the appetite for the videos. And after a while, you will have no desire at all. It'll be gone because it's not you. It's still a part of the ego, false nature that's inside of your mind and body. So just be aware if you catch yourself watching them, just know that you're watching them. And then when you're not watching them and this thing is acting like you're dying or you're losing something, be aware of that. It's the awareness, Alex, is just changing everything because the awareness is the light of God. It's the love of God working in you, and he's making you free. He's getting rid of all the old nature now, all of that stuff you picked up when you were in the fallen state, all that stuff you've been calling you, he's getting rid of that. That's what's happening.
That's right. Thank you so much. I know this worked when I let go of smoking pot, when I let go of porn. I know he helped me with all of that. It's just like this is one of the last things kind of keeping me down. So thanks for the advice.
Yeah, don't identify with it. And I highly recommend that you do the silent prayer so you could be aware, and being aware will stop you from trying to work on this self because the real you is fine. You're doing fine. It's this fake you that you think is you, and you're trying to work on that, but it's not you. So I do recommend you do the silent prayer.
All right. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Let me know how it goes.
Sure.
All right. Thank you, Alex.
Bye.
Bye now. Oh, man, everybody got the same thing. You have a choice. You can stay and live in your miserable life. And your miserable life will always be your miserable life. The greatest punishment that a human being can bring upon him or herself is to stay themselves. You stay as you are, you're bringing nothing but misery upon yourself. You can overcome that by putting your eyes on yourself and seeing that you're not those things. But you can punish yourself by staying as you are. And God and Jesus and Jesse, ain't nothing they can do about it. God can do something about it, but he's already done all he's got to do because it's been done. You can be free. As a matter of fact, the real you is already free. It's not you that is enslaved and you're calling it you. It's up to you. Let me go quickly to Brian out of North Carolina. There's a line open, 888-7753-773. Brian, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Thank you, Jesse. How are you?
All is well, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well, too. Thank you.
Nice.
I want to answer the biblical question.
Who or what gave you the impression you have of your mother and or grandmother?
I would say Satan, and I think it's since birth. Like I've had it since birth, since I was born.
And who gave it to you at birth?
Satan.
Why do you say Satan gave it to you at birth?
Because I think about how everybody is born of the woman and how everybody has that, they're born with that wickedness of being turned away from the father. It seems like everyone is born turned toward the mother, and the problem is that they don't have the father there to kind of point out or be that opposition to that attachment. Or it could be the other way, where maybe the mother is like a piece of crap and then the kids have that judgment of them. But that judgment of that impression of your mother is something that you're born with, which is this false impression of yourself.
But how did Satan give you that impression at birth that you have? What impression you have of your mother and or grandmother?
Now of I don't really have any impression of my grandmother, but of my mother, I have an impression that, she's wicked sometimes, like intentionally.
What impression did you have of your mother before that?
That she was God, essentially. In a sense, she was to be like honored and a bunch of stuff that was a lie.
And where did you get those impressions from?
From her.
How did she give you that impression? What did she do, or how did she give you that impression?
She was turned away from her father.
I know, but how did she give you that impression that you have of her?
Oh, by being able to impose her will on me naturally as she raised me.
Amazing. Well, I appreciate that, Brian. I'll put my little 2 cents in. I want to respond, but I gotta wait. There's so many people that want to respond to it. I'll put my little 2 cents in on Sunday if the Lord is willing and the creek don't ride. But let me ask, did you know that you had an impression of her?
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Before it became a biblical question?
Yes, sir, I did. And it was I thought about it last night when I watched church, and then this morning when I was praying, I really thought about it again. And it was so simple how I arrived to this, but I know that I still have impressions of my mother that I'm overcoming. And I realized that I was never even supposed to have an impression of her at all, whether it be a good or a bad one, as far as I can think. Just like I shouldn't have an impression of myself or my father, but that's just the way it was.
Amazing.
And I've had to overcome that.
Okay. I appreciate it, Brian. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
All right, buddy. Amazing. 888-7753-773. Renee out of California. Renee, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Jesse.
Hey, Renee.
How are you?
All is well.
So I listened to your fellowship yesterday, and you were asking questions about relationships. And you asked an important question, like how many relationships you've been in, but you didn't ask, like, how many years or how long did that relationship last, and what did you learn from it? And you said nothing.
Okay.
Right?
Uh-huh.
And one of your experts made a good argument. Or he said that he learned how to shoot a gun in his early years, but then he learned more as he got with people who taught him how to shoot a gun.
He went and shot at a gun range, so he learned more from that because he learned how to use a gun for self-defense and all of that rather than just hunting.
Yeah, so how can you say that you don't learn anything from being in a relationship?
Have you learned anything from being in a relationship?
Not from the other person, but from myself, yes.
And what did you learn from being in a relationship?
Simple things like communicating, being honest, simple things like that.
And that, can you give me an example of what you mean?
Sure. instead of if they ask you, like, where did you go? You said like, oh, I went out drinking with the boys. Instead of like, I had to work overtime at work. Just being straight out, being forward. Those things that you learn. I mean, everybody has to learn through something. If it's not from the other person, it's from yourself that you have to learn.
How did that help you?
Well, it helped me in my next relationship where I stopped like beating around the bush and just being straight out. This is what I'm doing. This is what I want. Instead of just abiding by her needs or by your partner's needs, you know.
Okay.
That's how it helped me. But you just ended it like you don't learn anything. But you should have asked like how many years they've been together, because a lot of people
why should I have asked that?
I think that's a important question, because throughout time you learn stuff.
And so you think that was an important question for you? That's why I should have asked it?
Yeah, well, maybe for the rest of the listeners.
And so in your mind, you would think it just need to ask, he should ask how long you been together? How long were you together?
Yes.
That was in your mind?
That was in my mind at the time, yeah.
I understand it, Renee. And so how many relationships you been in?
A couple.
And
a couple, but I've always learned something from them.
And so
I didn't agree.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
That I've always learned something from it, and I always apply it to the next one.
And learn it and apply it, did that make the next relationship work?
No.
Why not? If you learn something, why didn't it make it work?
Maybe it's her.
What?
Maybe it's her. Maybe it's her. Maybe it's the ladies that they don't like assertive men, or they don't like straight out. Maybe it just hasn't happened, you know. But it's not a guarantee to work out.
Is there a difference? Why learning something is not guaranteed to work out?
Or it's just not. Just because you learn from it, it doesn't make it any better.
But what's the purpose of learning if it's not going to make it better?
Right.
No, that was a question.
That's right. I'm asking myself that too.
No, that was a question. What's the purpose of learning something if it's not going to make it better?
Well, it did make it better, but it make it better on my side, but maybe not with her perspective, you know?
Amazing. Is there a difference between learning something and understanding something?
No, I don't think so.
Why is that?
Because if you understand something and you learn it, it's the same thing. You're able to teach it and pass it on.
How is it the same thing? Understanding something and learning something.
It's the same thing, really. It's just different words.
Amazing. I should make that a biblical question. But
yeah.
So Renee, you think learning something and understanding something is the same thing?
I believe so, yes.
And why do you believe that?
Because if you learn it, you understand it, and you're able to pass it on.
Pass it on to what?
To someone who wants to learn it.
Amazing. I'm not going to make that a biblical verse, but I want to ask other people just to see what they say about that. That's a very interesting thing. Thank you, Renee. I appreciate it, man.
Oh, Jesse, can I also mention something else?
Yes.
That Sean was like 100% on point about being Catholic and how the Catholics admire the Virgin Mary so much.
Right.
That's 100% true, man.
Yeah,
and that's why they create a lot of beta males.
So what?
That's why they create a lot of beta males, I think.
I didn't realize, because I didn't know a lot about the Catholic religion. And I don't know, I'm learning more and more about different religions, but I didn't know how much the Catholic people worship Mary until I started visiting some of the Catholic areas and things. And they worship Mary like she was God.
Right. And then they place that upon like their mother and their grandmother, and that's the procession of who their mom is.
That's amazing, man.
Question. Yeah.
And so they treat their mothers and grandmothers like they treat Mother Mary. Right.
Yeah. And they could do no wrong,
That's deep. I didn't, and you're right, I know now because I've been seeing it over the years, but I just didn't know that they worship Mary like that. They even prayed to Mary.
Right.
And
there's like there's a whole book based on just like worshiping Mary.
It's interesting too that I got around. Christ said Christ didn't even want you to worship him. I don't know why anyone would think that they should be worshiping Mary if they cannot worship the Son who saved them from their mess. And
I had a lot of. Go ahead.
And he didn't even want you to worship him. And how can somebody fix it in their brains that they need to be worshiping Mary? It doesn't make sense to me, but I understand.
It is amazing, yeah. I had a lot of conversation with priests. I have a priest in my family, like my uncles are priests.
Yeah.
And they just say that, Mary is just like the middleman, kind of the guy that you meet before you get the fentanyl. It's the middleman.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't worship any false idols, but it's the mother,
Yeah, they have statues of Mary and everything. Thank you, Renee. I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Good show.
All right, buddy. Amazing. 888-7753-773. Do you see now why God said he will renew your mind? You need a renewed mind. Renew the mind, and the rest will follow. Brian out of Florida. Welcome to the show, Brian.
How you doing this morning, sir?
All is well. How are you, Brian?
I'm alive and well. I'm still breathing, so I'm good.
I'm still alive.
I had a question.
I'm still alive, but I'm barely breathing.
So I had a question, sir.
Yes, sir.
I listened to the service yesterday, Sunday, like I do every Sunday. And for some reason, I felt compelled to reach out to my father, who I have not spoken to in almost a decade and a half. And I just wanted to get his side of the story, why him and my mama done split. Now, they split when I was 7 and 8 years old. So between 7 and 8, so about like 16, 17, he slowly stopped coming around, and my mama was always in my ears. See, I told you he wasn't a good dad. He wasn't this. He wasn't that. So come to find out, when I talked to him yesterday, that my mama done used me and my sibling like poker chips to him. That he went to the court, he did this, he did that. My mama said, you ain't pay all the child support this month, so you can't see the kids. I don't want them getting upset because they always get upset.
Hold on. Can you hold? Let me take a quick break.
Yes, sir.
All right, hold on. The treasure chest is now open on D-Line, and I'll be back in a moment. Check out my book, For Raised to Responsibility. I show you how I was able to overcome anger. The spirit of anger was taken away from me. I had it. And as a result of having anger, I was insecure. I had doubt, worry, fear. I was in a fallen state and didn't know it. And it wasn't until I went and forgave my mother who tried to turn me away from my father. I forgave my father for not being there and returned back to him. My spirit connected with his spirit, and through him, I was able to return to God. And I have perfect peace. Perfect love casts out anger. And when anger is gone, fear and doubt, worry, insecurity, suicidal thoughts, all of that is gone, and you are free. Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, or if you want an autographed copy, you can go to my website at rebuildingtheman.com or call 800-411-BOND. Okay, folks, welcome back. The Church of Chess is now open on D-Live. I did that. And couple quick announcements. Number one, I want to tell you my producer, Sean. He works hard to put together an amazing radio package Monday through Friday. And a lot of times I don't even get to it. I'm like, Sean, I'm sorry, man. He's like, no big deal. I understand it. And so he put together a show package, but I don't use it sometimes. The Hake Report is coming up at 9 a.m. this morning. The Hake Report from 9 to 11 a.m. Pacific time. Daylight saving time now. What the? And Hake has a guest today, a guy by the name of Matthew with one T. So Hake is telling me. M-A-T-H-E-W. Matthew. And Matthew is of Caught in the Middle YouTube channel. Caught in the Middle YouTube channel. So he's going to be with Hake Report today. Get ready. Y'all thought the other guest was a bumpy ride and the black one coming out of the woodwork angry? What Get ready for Matthew. Caught in the Middle YouTube channel on the Hake Report today, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the top of this hour. And then at 12 noon, the American Anchor Baby. The American Anchor Baby is on fire. You heard him yesterday in the fellowship. He ain't the American Anchor Baby for nothing at 12 noon, so be ready and get ready. All right? The American Anchor Baby at 12 noon. And again, people ask me all the time, would I sign my book if they order one? Yes, I will. More than happy to do it. And I recommend From Rage to Responsibility. I talk a little bit about how I overcame anger in that book. And then the antidote, no, not the antidote, From Rage to Responsibility is the first book. And then the second one is Scam, How the Black Leadership Exploits Black America. I've been talking about this for a long time, trying to encourage the blacks to wake up and take control of their own life as individuals. Get over the black. Get over the crap about racism. It's all a lie. Get over the crap about slavery. It ain't what they're telling you at all. Get over blaming white folks. White folk ain't got nothing to do with your issues. One iota of, period. And it's on you. It's the same thing with the people who are blaming the Jews. Jews ain't got nothing to do with your issue. 1/0 of a thing to do with your issue. Don't go down that same road as the blacks. Don't be mad. Live your life. The best of you is inside of you. It ain't inside the Jew. It ain't inside the white man. It's in you. Wake up. So I write about that, and then 7 Guaranteed Steps to Spiritual, Family, and Financial Success Guide. It's in reprint right now. It just keeps selling out like hot water. But it's in repress. I mean, they're reprinting more copies right now. But it's a little thin pocket guide that we use in our entrepreneur program. It's the key to life. But you got to do it. It's a little thin pocket guide, not much. And then last but not least, The Antidote, Healing America from the Poison of Hate, Blame, and Victimhood. I want to, and I will sign them, go to rebuildingtheman.com or call 800-411-BOND, 800-411-2663. I want to put a challenge up on everyone today. And I want you to give it a good try, a real good try. And then if it doesn't work, you can go back to your mess of blaming and being mad at somebody else. For 2 weeks only, mark it down. Mark this day down for me, Sean, so I remember to ask in 2 weeks. But for 2 weeks only, and 2 weeks of your life is not a lot. I want you to live life without blaming one iota of a person. Forgive your parent, you were a child, they can help it, right? But other than that, as an adult, give it 2 weeks of not complaining or blaming anyone about your life. See what happens. And I want to know from you what happened at the end of that 2 weeks. So today is Monday. And so 2 weeks from today, see what happened if you never blame another person about what you're thinking, feeling, or what's going on in your own life, inside of you. Just try it. I see a lot of people feeling nervous right now. What do I do if I don't blame somebody? And who will I be? Give it a really good try. Just 2 weeks only. Don't blame anyone for what you feel or think or your life, period. And see what happens. All right? That's a good one. But anyway, let me go back to Brian. So Brian found out that his mother lied to him about his father. He went and met his father for the first time. And how long, Brian?
About a decade and a half, and we haven't met yet. We agreed that this weekend we're going to meet up.
But y'all talked? Y'all spoke?
Yes, sir, for about an hour and a half, and I got the full scoop.
And what was the scoop?
That my mama done lied the whole time. She always said, "Oh, you see, he's not coming around no more. He never really wanted to be there at a certain point." But it came to find out she wasn't letting him see us because he didn't pay all the child support for that month.
Yeah.
My mama said, I don't want you coming around because when you come around, the kids get upset when you leave. And he's like, well, of course they're getting upset. Their daddy ain't there. They see what we're going through. You can't let me not see the kids because of that. So eventually I stopped trying to hang out with him. I stopped doing this. He stopped coming around because, like I said, my mama wouldn't let him near us.
Yeah.
And I called him yesterday. We talked for an hour and a half, and that's what he told me. So now we're going to hang out Friday, and he's going to meet my wife now. We've been married for about a year and a half. We have a 1.5-year-old. I have a kid from another previous relationship, and my wife is pregnant now. So this is the first time we'll see each other, like I said, about a decade and a half.
Amazing.
And I forgave him about a year ago. I got his address through my mama, and I wrote him a letter, saying I forgive you for not being there, doing this and that, and now I know he was trying to be there, but my mama wasn't allowing it. So now I have this guilt, this residing on me, blaming him for that when I know now that he wasn't. And my question for you is, sir, how do we start our relationship over And can it be salvaged and go back to what it was before my mama did all this?
Good question. Number one, there's nothing for you to feel guilty about. You didn't know. And when you found out, you went and dealt with it. So there's no reason for you to be guilty at all. And then number two, now that you have forgiven him, you just start right where you are. Just deal with him with no anger, and the relationship will work its own self out. It'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I always felt guilty now because I told my daughter, who's 4 years old, my oldest, me and her mom are split up. We have been separated now for about 3 years. And I always told her, you know how lucky you are to have daddy in your life like that daddy ain't have his daddy in his life and stuff like that my daddy wasn't there. He wasn't trying to be there. So now I feel like I lied to her but I didn't know though. So I just, I have this guilt.
Yeah, you were not lying to her. You were telling her what you had been told, so you didn't know. And so, again, there's nothing to be guilty of. And as your daughter get older and you talk to her, let's let her know, I found out my mother lied to me about my father. My father always wanted to be there, just as I always want to be there for you, daughter. But there's nothing to be guilty about, Brian. Let that go. That's a false idea from evil. The thoughts are lying to you. There's nothing to be guilty about.
Yeah, it's
and
you
can't you can't make up for time lost with your father. You just have to be grateful for now and always live from now. And I'm telling you, life will work. It'll work itself out. It'll be just fine.
And it was great. It was kind of almost an awestruck moment because when I found this out and I talked to him, it's like a weight was lifted off my shoulders.
Yes.
And like a rush of emotion entered my heart now, knowing that my daddy never did stop loving me, that he was doing all he could, but my mom and the courts, being as wicked as they are, were preventing him from being a father.
Yeah, that's with every human being on this side of heaven. The mothers have turned the children away from the fathers, and the mothers, it wasn't her, but it's the evil spirit in her that hate the man. The spirit of evil hate the male, period. They hate the male children. They hate the male daddies. They hate the male father. They hate everything about him. And so
my whole life growing up, she always tell me, you're going to end up just like your daddy. You're just like your daddy, this and that. And I'm like...
What an evil woman.
I called her after too, and I said, no, you're evil.
Yeah.
What you did is evil. My whole life, I could, my whole life growing up, I see my best friends with their daddies hanging around and stuff. And, when we got older, we got in our 20s, their daddies were cool. We went out, they took us, they took us out to the casino. They took us out to have our first couple beers with them and stuff. And I missed all that with my daddy.
Yes.
My mama took all that away. And I always felt not like an anger or jealousy towards them, but I was envious that they had something that I could not acquire.
Yeah. Every human being, life is about a return to the Father. What they're missing on the inside is a return to the Father. It ain't about physical things or physical people or where you live or what you have or don't have. It's a yearning for the Father. And once they return to the Father, everything else is completed because you will be made whole and you'll be able to live in this world and be just fine because you have returned to the Father. Congratulations on that, Brian. That is really, really amazing. What did your mother say when you told her she was evil for turning you away from your father?
Well, when I first forgave her, about a year and a half ago,
yes.
She done laughed at me. She's like, "You forgive me?" And she called me a mother effer because I was a bad kid. I was in and out of jail. I was doing drugs and stuff. So she just kind of laughed it off.
You have become just like her.
Yeah, she kind of laughed it off. She's like, "You forgive me? After all you put me through, you forgive me?" Kind of just shrugged it off and walked out the room laughing. I'm like, okay, well, I done did what Jesse said to do. I feel better.
That's right.
That's on her now, I guess.
That's right. Yeah. And do you allow her to come around your family?
No, we've actually stopped talking about a few weeks ago because she could not respect my wishes and how I'm raising my children.
Nice.
She'd always try to message my wife and be like this and that. And my wife, being the wife that she is. She's like, well, that's fine and all, but have you talked to Brian about this? And she's like, well, no. It's like, well, you need to talk to Brian.
That's
And
right.
I'm like, I done told her. I went and got a little heated with her. And I'm like, you need to stop messaging my wife like this. I run my household. I'm the man of this house. I'm the father of these children, and I lead this household.
Right on,
It goes
man.
through me,
Yeah.
not her.
And
she didn't like that.
And the mothers are so evil. If they can't get through the son to get to his family, they will go around the son to the wife because
Yeah,
they know she's the weaker vessel.
So after this happened and stuff, she still tried to drop little gifts and things off for the kids at the house while me and my wife weren't there.
Wow.
And I had to say, look, and I told her, I'm like, look, you do this again, you come onto my property and stuff like this again, and I'm not here. I got a friend who's a cop. I'm like, I will get a restraining order.
Nice.
And since I know a cop, like, I will make sure that this paperwork is fast-tracked. Until you apologize for not having respect for me and my family and how I'm raising my children, you need to stay away. Because she's like, well, these are my children. I'm like, they ain't your children.
Not
when
at
they
all.
sick, you don't take them to the doctor. When they wake up in the middle of the night from a nightmare, you don't go comfort them and wake and stay up with them for an hour until they go back
Look,
to bed.
she didn't lay down with
I
your
do
wife
that.
and made a baby.
Nope. So she wasn't too happy about that.
That's
When I
fine.
said you need to stay gone until you can respect me and my wishes, then you can come back around. But if you cannot, adios. I mean, like I will raise my children and do my family the way I feel the need be, which is by the book.
We need more men like you, Brian. Right on, man. So stay with the silent prayer and watch. And with your father, don't be trying to make up for anything that was lost, because you can't make up for anything. All you do is start right now, as you've done, and it's going to all be well.
Okay. Because he's going to get to meet his grandkids for the first time.
Right on. That's
Ever.
amazing. And this is what's wrong with the world. The evil is working through the women. It's coming through the mother and the grandmothers and the wives. It's not coming through men. It's coming through the woman.
Yes, sir.
Brian, let me know how it goes with father, man. Thanks for your call. I wish you well.
Yes, sir. I'll call in next week and let you know how it went. Thank you very much for your time and your wisdom and advice, sir.
You're
Led
welcome.
me back to my father.
Right on. Amazing. There will come a day when I will turn the children to the fathers and the fathers to the children. That's all needed, folks. It ain't about nothing else but that. And women, y'all need to overcome that evil heart and stop punishing your children, bring them into your hell by turning them away from their fathers. You have no love. A woman's love is pure evil. It doesn't work, can't work, not gonna work, not work. It ain't gonna work. Super chat. Super.
Drew bought 3 coffees. The story of how that one guy finding his father from Thursday's show was amazing. Nearly brought me to tears. 2 strong arm emojis, 200 emojis.
I have to tell you, over the last 33 or 34 years of doing what I do, nothing ever pleases me more than to see men and women, boys and girls, returning to their fathers. Because I know then, especially when they truly see it, because some people learn it intellectually, they go and forgive, nothing happened. But when they see it and they forgive, there's no greater joy than that, because they're back home. And being back home is freedom. It's perfect peace. It's paradise on earth. And that's the problem with every human being. I don't care what race or whatever you're into. You're missing the love of a father. Forgive and return to the Father. Thank you.
Also from Buy Me a Coffee, Riley JM, a biblical question I have. Do you need trust in order to have truth? He asks.
No. I don't know what that means, really. Call me up. That's an interesting question. If you get a chance, call me about it. What's his name?
Riley JM.
Riley JM, because I have a follow-up question about that. But thank you.
Ray Benjamin.
But the answer is no.
Bought a coffee. Good day to the show and guests. I will keep it short. I hope everyone had their weekend wine. I reach out now to make comments about balancing. We have 3 dimensions: reality, imagination, and the spirit realm. We can stay physically balanced, and our imagination can be balanced once we step off the scales of mental conflict. The spirit realm is unimaginable, but staying away from sin allows us to stay balanced on the narrow road, he says.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Someone bought a coffee. When are you going to have Jordan Peterson on again? Me and my husband think he needs your help. By the way, last week's Fallen State was amazing.
Thank you. I always enjoy talking to Jordan Peterson. We'll work on it. Good suggestion. Thank you.
My husband and I.
My husband and I. Not me and my husband. What's up?
Piotr Robel bought 5 coffees. Thank you, Jesse and the team, for the best fellowship on this side of heaven. Amazing. Stay with it, and stay with it.
Thank you. Definitely will. Rebuildingtheman.com/church. Thank you.
Evgeny Crosby bought a diamond yesterday. Church with Jesse Lee Peterson in one word: amazing.
Church was deep yesterday. It was mind-blowing. Thank you.
Rocky the Mexican flag emoji.
I stayed up all night to get a Mexican.
Hi, Jesse Blatt. Sunday church was amazing. Question: I realize the greatest problem we have as humans is the ego. Do you have an ego? Ask the experts too. Thanks, team.
I die daily. Thank you.
Nice. I think it has the experts, if I can answer for us.
You think what?
That the ego has the experts. Joel Friday says amen.
Nice. Thank you.
Soul Conscious bought 5 coffees. Jesse, I am tired of slapping my mama every Sunday after church. Excellent service. Thank you.
Sunday service was so amazing, it made me want to fly over to Indiana, go out to my mother's grave, dig her up, smack her, and put her back in the grave. It was amazing. RebuildingTheMan.com/church podcast if you were not there or watch it live.
Luther bought 3 coffees. Most people stay up all night to get a Mexican, but such and such person stayed up all night with anger because he wanted to do something way back in 1986. What the?
Amazing.
Let stuff go.
Thank you, I'll tell you.
Gregatron bought a coffee. Happy Monday, Jesse. It's the first Monday of the month. You know what that means? Today is Beta Male Monday.
We've been thinking about that. Thank you. We had a discussion about your suggestions, so we're working on something. Thank you.
Cartoon for Food with a Rumble rant this morning. Support Jesse's presence on Rumble by hitting the thumbs up Rumble button.
Hit the button, support, subscribe, and everything.
Prep Ham Paul. Pity's become a negative word, but pity is commiseration, where one has compassion for another or expressing sorrow for that person. Pitiful equals inadequate, not good or bad, he says.
We're not supposed to express any form of pity for anyone. Who are we that we should feel pity for anyone? And you should not be feeling it for yourself, believe me. Thank you.
That handy man donated on Rumble saying, Joel and Sean sounding like a mama. I'm not telling you how to say it, but you should say it like this. There's a wrong way and a right way, but my way's right.
What are you referring to?
He was referring to your experts this morning on Pitiful.
Pitiful?
Are you pitiful?
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Riley JM bought a coffee, no message, and another coffee saying, Mr. T, as a Christian, would say, I don't pity the fool.
That's right. Joya said, whatever.
Canadian David on Rumble. Jesse just dropped a holy checkmate.
Amazing. Thank you.
I love Jesse bought a coffee. Jesse, I'm so discouraged as I keep seeing more and more layers of evil within me. It feels like this will never leave me. Do I just keep doing the silent prayer and eventually I will be at peace with God? Thank you and your crew so much for all you do.
Absolutely. Stay with the silent prayer. And in all honesty, the real you is already at peace with God. It's just not you that is not at peace with God. And it feels like it's you. And there are layers and layers of that. Stay with it, and the layers will fade away. And you're going all the way through the valley of the shadow of death, which is hell, and heaven is right there. Stay with it. Absolutely.
Stefano from Germany, but half Greek, bought 3 coffees. Amazing church yesterday. Jesse, you said the last 2 things a man has to get rid of is food and sex. It is obvious. What do you mean by sex, but can you explain in which way you have to let go of food? I have a special diet plan because of skin issues. I eat very healthy, do a lot of sports, but now if I eat outside my eating routine, the mind comes and says, you shouldn't drink that coffee, or you shouldn't have that meal. Then I get a bad feeling I didn't stick with my diet plan. Is that voice God, who wants to tell me what is good for me or what's not? Or is it
God.
the devil who wants me to live in doubt? What the? Thank you.
Not God. Eat food to remember and not to forget. Be conscious of eating. As with everything, it's the consciousness, it's the awareness that make the change, all right? So don't go to sleep in your imagination while you're eating, and it'll work itself out. It'll just change. Thank you.
And thank you, guys. We'll read the rest tomorrow.
Amazing. I try hard, desperately to get to them all. Sean, I'm so sorry, man. We didn't do one piece of package today. And Sean, he white, the best producer ever. That doesn't mean you guys weren't good, Jay.
Oh, okay.
As producers.
You're nice.
The Hake Report is coming up now, and Hake has a guest. You don't want to miss Matthews of Caught in the Middle YouTube channel. And after the Hake Report, the American Anchor Baby. To the callers, I'm out of time. Call me back tomorrow. Matt from Tennessee, the other caller, call me tomorrow, Country and Western Tuesday. Thank you for your super chats and your support. I'll be back tomorrow, the Lord is willing, and the creek don't rise. I might tell y'all about Hassan Doll. I don't know. I have to get his permission first. All right. Thank you all. Bye.
Because if we don't, then we lose, and then we got to hit the fake news. Whoa.
So you get something went wrong, but face the truth about yourself and just seek first God's kingdom, cause you must know thyself so you get something went wrong, but face the truth about yourself and just seek first God's kingdom, cause I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way.
So, here's what I recommend. I invite you to download my silent prayer, and I want you to start doing it. You just download it, get the points of how to do it, and then after a while, you just do it on your own. It's going to point you in the right direction that your life will be returned to you from God. He will give you your life back, because anyone and all people who has anger, they're not themselves. You are the person that you are angry at. That's why it's so important to get to know yourself so that you can see who you're angry at. And if you're doing the hooping and hollering prayers and things like that, some people get up, oh, praise the Lord, hoop and holler, bless my mama, bless my daddy. Continue to do it. Do both. You will see if you want to stay with the hooping and hollering, or do you want to be still and know God. So my gift to you, no charge, at rebuildingtheman.com/church. Anytime you have situations happening in your life, always be still. Don't overreact. Most of the people that I know, they say, oh, I know Jesus. I love Jesus. I'm an observer. And as soon as something don't go their way, they get mad. I'm like, what the? If you overreact, folks, remember to do that. Don't overreact. And when you get mad, it's your problem. It ain't your wife's problem, your husband's problem, your neighbor, your friend, your preacher, your teacher. It's your problem. Why you think you tick? It didn't go your way or the way you think it should go. Don't have a way you think it should go. Let life just happen. Thoughts make you think that life should go the way you want it to go. And if it doesn't, if someone don't do or say or act the way you think they should act, you hate them. And then you blame them for being mad. It's the darndest thing I ever seen, but it's amazing to see it. So relax.